Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
All right, Rob, what episode are we on? Let's see. It doesn't say the number.
This is 593.
593 it is. Lots going on. We're back from Italy. And Vinny brought a mosquito from Italy on the flight. You know, you open up your jacket, a mosquito is on the flight.
Came on the flight.
Without snapping. That's how viruses get spread, by the way, just so you know that. And I hope you were okay with that.
He was like, grazie. He was flying around and he was appreciative of the...
Meanwhile, a lot has happened.
Can't be doing that.
A lot has happened. Palantir to create vast federal data platform tying together millions of American private records, stock jump. So this could be another RICO. This could be another, what's the other
Patriot
one?
Act.
Patriot Act. People are worried about this situation here, but we'll see. We'll see what's going on there. Video about President Trump saying he would consider pardoning Diddy, and then 50 Cent responds back and says, hey, let me try to change your mind about pardoning this guy, but there's some stuff going on there. Harvard has trained so many Chinese communist officials, they call it their party school. So in China, they call Harvard a party school. I mean, I remember when party schools were UC Santa Barbara.
Yep.
It was Arizona State University.
San Diego State.
Florida State. Florida
State, baby. Come on now.
And now, apparently, now it's Harvard. Harvard's a party school. Let me tell you, nothing comes close to the party school of Glendale Community College. Nothing.
I heard rumors.
I dare you guys. Glendale Community College was amazing. Xi Jinping's daughter faces call to be deported from U.S. And guess what school she goes to? We will find that out. Elon Musk follows bombshell drug use report with black guy Oval Office press conference. The video that's Vanity Fair will play that clip. Trump questioned the extent of Musk's DOGE cuts. They had a little bit of back and forth. And we'll see what the fellas have to say about it today. Musk was kind of disappointed with Trump's spending bill. And then at the same time, Kash Patel and Bongino are saying there's a video. There's a jail video showing Jeffrey Epstein that he died by suicide. And apparently they're going to release that video. And Vinny's waiting. Vinny's waiting very excited to see it.
Yeah, okay.
These are the retailers raising prices as Trump's tariffs take hold. And here are some major companies, U.S. companies, warning about tariffs in their earning report. We'll give you their numbers here in a second. Freed Israeli hostage says Hamas captors were rooting for Harris to beat Trump. Very insightful interview. We'll show it to you. Just got some terrible news about the fact that Bernard Kerik passed a few days ago at 69 years old. He was a friend. He was a New York police commissioner, one of the toughest guys that was influential in keeping the streets of New York clean. May God bless his soul, and I think his legacy continues with his son, and I'm certain he's going to do something with it. So God bless the Kerik family. L.A. City Council passes budget that trims police fire spending. Tom's got some thoughts on that. Colorado fire attack suspect plotted for a year. They've known about this for about a year. And by the way, you know, it could create a little bit of ruckus because he was a B-1 visa guy. I don't know if you looked into that or not. He was. Big Short investor, Michael Burry. Somebody that you got to listen to when he says he's going to be doing something. This is the guy from the movie Big Short at the end when he says, I'm going to buy water moving forward. That's the next investment that he's getting into. He just liquidated his portfolio except for one company. And I guarantee you will, if we wait here for 2 hours, you will not be able to guess the company.
Did you say water? Like big water?
He said water is the future investment. Yeah, that's what he said in the movie.
Water.
Jamie Dimon calls on U.S. to stockpile bullets, rare earth instead of Bitcoin. That's what he's talking about. There's a lot of things that Jamie Dimon says. He warns the U.S. bond market will crack under pressure from rising debt. And he predicts cracking the bond market, citing U.S. Fiscal mess. Home sellers now outnumbered by 500,000, according to Redfin. Iran's producing near weapon-grade uranium amid nuclear talks, UN watchdog said. And Putin's bombers wiped out in drone blitz as Russia demands retaliation. They're calling this the Russia's Pearl Harbor. Wait till you see this video. Rob just showed it to us. Unbelievable. Jake Tapper had another rough week. I mean, his book isn't doing that well. And not only that, his viewership. It's like he came out to sell the book, but the way he promoted the book, he lost credibility of what he has to say because no one now believes that he's going to report on anything that he knows about. What a weird strategy if you think about it.
Stupid.
Jake, what was that all about, Jake? Bill Maher backs Trump, blasts Harvard University. It's an asshole factory, is what he talks about. So that's what Bill Maher talked about there. Disney makes hundreds more layoffs as it cuts costs. Democratic Party, horrendous polling leaves CNN data guru in disbelief. When you see this, it doesn't make any sense. And I like because he goes all the way back to 1989, and who America looked at was more favorable with middle America, that was concerned about middle America. And you should see what happens from 89 till today. And Democrats were at 24% lead, I believe. And you should see the numbers today. It's pretty dramatic. And then Sesame Street stokes backlash for promoting Pride Month. G for groomer. This video, I don't know if we can play this video or not, Rob. Maybe we can, maybe we cannot. But when you see this video, it's just very, very weird what's going on. And you know what month it is. It's Pride Month. I asked the guys to represent Pride Month this month. Vinny came with a cross. He's proud to be a Christian.
Yep.
Tom came with a pin of Valuetainment. He's proud to represent Valuetainment and pictures of his family. Adam came in with the tattoo that he got on his wrist of his two cats. He's very proud of his cats and his family
Lower
that
back,
he's got.
man. It's on the lower back now.
Brandon came in, with a very uncomfortable outfit. We have to tell him to change because Brandon literally thought I said dress up as if it is, but it's going to be okay. We got a lot of
orders.
Brandon,
yeah, I mean, you're coachable. I respect it. But a few things with baseball teams. Why are the Texas Rangers the only MLB team without a Pride Night? We'll talk about that. And new list exposes 12 NFL teams for refusing to post message supporting Pride Month on social media. And there's a few other things that we'll get into with story-wise that we have here. We got a long ways to go today on the podcast. Gang, as you're listening to this, we were in Italy, and while we're walking the streets of Italy, it is so amazing when people walk up, oh my God, future looks bright, the brand. It's so awesome seeing it around the world with what's happening with the energy. A vlog will be shared here soon. While we're in Italy, someone decides to drive the car, play chicken with another car, and the car almost flips. You have to see this video to believe what happened.
I have the video.
I'm not going to tell you who that was, but somebody that drives recklessly in Italy. Who would do such a thing?
Pop the tire, too.
Pop the tires. It's a lot of stories. Some true, some not true.
I
You got
have
to see
one
it.
guess, PBD.
It's entertaining, and we had a great time with Stefano Ricci, and there's a new project that's coming out. But in the interim, while you're watching this, before we get started with the podcast, if you believe the future looks bright, and you live in Florida, Texas, California, or New York, in that order, by the way, of the hats. The hats are available for your state where you get to wear Future Looks Bright, and on the site has your state on it. I think the Florida numbered hats, there's 3 left on the numbers for Florida, but the rest of them, there's a few left for you to go order. Rob, do you have a video on this or no with the hats?
Yep.
Press the video on this here. You can go ahead and play it. And it tells you, on the cover it says Future Looks Bright. Vitamin logo on the other side. You got Florida, California, Texas, and New York. If you're proud of your state, where you live in, and you believe the future looks bright, go sport it. And by the way, we got emails from people saying, how about our state? How about this? How about that? Look, we even had a couple guys that ordered the hats and send it to people that live in Texas, New York, California, Florida. And a lot of good commentary. I was tagged on a bunch of different gifts that people got. So go place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, place the order for the hat that represents your state, or buy it as a gift for somebody that lives in those states. All right. So let's get right into it. Russia. President Trump is trying to, broker a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. We hear the story. He pulls aside Macron and says, nope, I'm going to go talk to Zelensky myself. They sit down, boom. You got the mineral deal that gets done. And then all of a sudden, hey, Putin, is he going to come to the meeting? Is he not going to come to the meeting? He doesn't show up to the meeting. And then suddenly, this event takes place, calling it the Pearl Harbor of Russia. 40 Russian strategic bombers, Tu-95, destroyed in daring Ukrainian FPV drone swarm raid. Take a look at this video. Rob, do we have audio for the audience to react to the audio as well?
Yep.
Look at this and listen to the audio, folks. Go ahead. Look at that. Look at those bombers. You see that? It's like straight out of the movie Pearl Harbor.
It's like a video game.
That sound takes me back to
this thing is going on.
You can pause it right. It goes for a while, by the way. 40. So let me read the story to you. Ukrainian Secret Service, SBU, executed Operation Spiderweb targeting Olenia and Belaya airfields with first-person view drones launched from trucks, with SBU sources claiming 34% of strategic cruise missile carriers at the main airfields of the Russian Federation were hit, causing $7 billion in damage. Ukrainian President Zelensky described it as an absolute brilliant result, noting 1 year, 6 months, and 9 days from the start of the planning to effective execution, and an operation achieved solely by Ukraine. The strikes hit over 40 Russian aircrafts, including Tu-95, Tu-22M3, an A-50 bomber, with pro-Kremlin war analyst Vladimir Podzavsky stating disabling strategic aircraft gives Russia the right to use ready nuclear weapons. Let me say this one more time. Disabling strategic aircraft gives Russia the right to now use nuclear weapons, citing Russia's nuclear doctrine, allowing a response to attacks on critical government or military infrastructure. Russian War Channel labeled it Russia's Pearl Harbor, with pundit Roman Alikin demanding the response will be the same as the U.S. response to the attack on Pearl Harbor, or even harsher. Those are some strong words right there. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, this is really bad. This is horrifying. In the midst of Trump trying to broker and trying to negotiate, there are forces out there that want nothing but war. And remember, Ukraine has been enabled by this. People are giving Ukraine weapon systems that they apparently use themselves. When he says achieved solely by Ukraine, what he's saying is we did it. Yeah, but you did it with arms and stuff you were given by other people. And so this is a big bump in the road toward peace, because you can't, if you had Putin ready to sit down and talk about something, okay, tell you what, you keep Crimea, we make a line right here, we do a couple things, we negotiate this, can we get to a peace and a détente here? And now Putin's like, what are you talking about? Which one of you folks, sold these weapons? Which one of you folks distracted me? Because remember, Putin, if anything, has got a high level of paranoia. And so he's going to look at this and have the one quote that I believe in this story, the response will be the same as U.S. Pearl Harbor, or even harsher. Why leave Pearl Harbor at that? It's going to be a very harsh, strong response. And I think we just took 2 steps back on, a peace treaty, which is really a border definition treaty, because Russia wants Crimea, Russia wants to keep Donbas, and Ukraine would like to get back on its feet, the core people. But Zelensky or whoever's supporting him, they want war. This is nasty.
Adam, thoughts?
So it's the #1 story on Wall Street Journal right now. Apparently they're both in Istanbul right now, where these Russia and Ukraine peace talks are taking place, allegedly. But if you actually look at what's going on in real life, on one hand, they're like, yeah, Trump, we're going to sit down, we're going to have peace talks, we're going to work this out. On the other hand, they're bombing the crap out of one another. As much as I support Trump and I voted for Trump, he promised to end this war in 1 day, actually before he assumed office. I think there's both sides saying, dude, I don't think you even understand a fraction of what this war is all about, because this is not stopping anytime soon. By the way, there's another article right now talking about how Putin has geared up the entire Russian economy to focus solely on war. So the whole conversation about, what is that?
Whose phone
That's
is
ChatGPT.
that? On whose phone?
Sorry about that.
Is that you?
Wow, they're listening. They
Go
just
ahead,
tapped
keep
my
going.
phone. By the way, they talked about how Putin's entire economy has hinged upon basically only focus on war. The running joke about Russia for many years is that it was a gas station masquerading as a country. Now it is a full-on gas station, oil field, and war machine that is only focusing on Putin's war. And my assumption is it's only going to get worse since this whole Operation Spiderweb just happened, when they basically eliminated, 40 of their planes. So how many deaths have been in this war since 2022?
Hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands, at least 1 million. Where are the campus protests? Where are the people talking about the deaths of the civilians? Nothing. Zero. Why don't we hear about this anymore? This is the #1 war in the world. Now they're threatening what, PBD? Nuclear war? No. Let's not talk about it.
But this is, by the way, Adam, Trump said a lot of things, but when you have people like Lindsey Graham, who's been there since the 30th, who is a freaking war hawk, that's been pushing for us to go to war with Ukraine. That's all this guy is. And I love how people are always like, well, you guys are only on one side. No. Lindsey Graham is one of those people that we talk about.
Pushing us to go to war with Ukraine?
Not with Ukraine, to drag us into a war with Russia. That's at the end of the day, it's not Trump. It's the people behind
you think
them.
This is Lindsey Graham?
Lindsey Graham has been there talking to him this
Lindsey
whole
Graham has absolutely zero pull.
You don't think
zero?
Lindsey Graham has no people. You don't think Lindsey Graham is in there in his ear?
is a senator.
Okay,
he doesn't run anything.
It's a coalition.
He doesn't run anything. He's there talking about peace talks. Then all of a sudden, have you? In this past,
is this the Bannon clip?
Are you bringing up Lindsey Graham?
I haven't seen the Bannon clip, but I know that he's there, and he is a war hawk. He wants us to go
this about, Rob?
He's been saying this for years.
Steve Bannon was on Chris Cuomo's News Nation, where he talks about Lindsey Graham being arrested for continuing to stir up animosity with Zelensky and Ukraine.
Go ahead.
I don't know whether it's true that Ukraine didn't give us a heads up and that the United States wasn't involved in the planning or execution. I don't know that. I know what the White House has said. I don't necessarily believe it. I don't know that it's not true either. But I don't understand how you could want to jail a U.S. senator because he's saying something you don't like. That sounds like the worst of the deep state.
Oh, look, the president.
Sounds like what happens in Russia.
No. It's absolutely what he's doing. What he's
But it's
doing
not
over there
illegal.
right now is
It's not
stirring
illegal.
it up. He's giving the Ukrainians false hope. He's giving Ukrainians false hope. He's giving Ukrainians false hope that we're there to support them on
All right, so maybe
engaging
he's
Russia
wrong.
in a kinetic conflict, and we are not.
So maybe he's wrong.
President
But what do
Trump,
you
one of
say,
the
throw
central
him in
parts of
jail?
President Trump. Hey, Lindsey Graham. Two things ought to happen: either cancel his passport and don't let him back in the country, or put him in jail if he comes back. Lindsey Graham
What
is
the
stirring
hell is
it
this guy
up right
talking
now,
about?
and people better wake
I
up
get
to the
it.
fact
Jailing
that
a
we're getting
senator?
sucked
What are you
into
talking
this
about?
war.
Pause that. Brandon, your thoughts.
Yeah, so we have mechanisms in place to take care of things like this, and if Trump's not going to take those mechanisms out because of the bad sides of them, like why isn't he using the good sides of them, like the National Endowment for Democracy, put things like this into place? So, I think it's time with Zelensky not being compliant with what we want him to do, with him going behind our back as he's pretending to do peace talks and playing this for a year and a half. It's time to overthrow him. It's time to use something like the National Endowment for Democracy to take him out of power, because the vast majority of his country wants him out of power. They're calling him a dictator. He's doing things that are putting us in danger, that are putting us in danger of a nuclear war, and putting the rest of Europe in a war posture position. So,
do you think Trump knew that Zelensky was going to do this?
Probably not, because he's.
You don't think he knew? You don't think that intel knew? Tom, do you think Trump knew? Do you think the White House knew this was going to happen?
I think we've got really good intel, and I think we wake up in the middle of the night, we freak out. But
Middle of the night type of knowing, not like we've known for a week.
I don't know if we've known for a week. It's like, hey, we suspected this, They just pulled the trigger on this, Mr. President. They just pulled the trigger on this. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So what you just said sounds a little bit like, and I'd like you to unpack it. I'm not attacking you.
Yeah,
I'd like
for
you to
sure.
unpack it.
For sure.
Sounds just like we need to knock out Saddam Hussein. He's not there. We need to overthrow him. But then there were things that filled the vacuum. If Zelensky, let's say tomorrow Zelensky, had an overdose, had a John Belushi death.
Yep.
Okay. What fills the vacuum? Because you're saying we need to take him out. What fills the vacuum? What are the political forces that are there? Is it like an Ayatollah, a completely radical member, or is it a military conversion? What happens in Ukraine if somebody does take Zelensky out? You're well read on this.
So, for example, the guy that we had on this podcast, he had to leave the country. He used to be Zelensky's advisor.
Arestovich.
Yes, the vast majority of the country wants him in power. So somebody like that, it's a much more structured place than Iraq. It's not like a chaotic situation. If you take them out, they want peace and stability and strong leadership, and popular sentiments on that side of things, where they don't want to be antagonizing Russia, and you could probably get them on board with giving a portion of Ukraine to Russia, because Ukraine's barely even a real state. Like, it's only existed for 30 years. The 90% of Russia's existence, it was part of Russia. Then we help overthrow Russia, or Russia collapses, and then we just take that part of it, use U.S. lobbyists to create this state called Ukraine.
Well, there's a lot of countries that exist for the last 30 years. It's called the ending of the Cold War. So when the Eastern Bloc fell, all these countries that, believe me, want to be free, every single every single country down there
how this works,
used to be part of the USSR.
Here's a question for you. For him to make, he says 18 months, and execution was perfection, right? His word.
Yeah.
So for this to happen and for it to take place, he has to have such confidence and such backing to know Putin's not going to do anything? Who gives him that level of backing? NATO?
Well,
you think that's the backing? He ain't getting it from Trump. So where is he getting the backing from to act this boldly to cause a Russian Pearl Harbor? And what did the Russian guy say? Hey, how did you guys react, America? So don't give us shit if we react like the way you guys did, if we react to so. And then what's our argument? Well, learn from our mistakes and don't make the mistakes of our previous leaders and all this. And Russia's going to say, shut up.
Yeah.
Cry me a river with all this bullshit that you guys have all done all this damage and I can't do anything. So to me, for a Zelensky to act this boldly, someone gave him the permission and the backing. Who is that?
Well, think about it. It's rogue elements of the CIA or the intelligence agency. Like, that's the thing. It's look at the CIA director. He first day in office, they come in, they put signal on his devices without him wanting them to do it. So the director of the CIA has no idea what's really going on in the CIA, and the president has no idea what's really going on the CIA. So rogue elements have been doing things that nobody has any idea about for decades. And I think, and it's always been the case that powerful forces are very interested in getting control of Russia's resources. Like, that's why everybody hates Putin, is because we put oligarchs in place at the end of the Cold War. We were exercising control through them. Then Putin gets into power and he takes control over the oligarchs, gets them out of power. So we lose access to Russia's market. So, even in the first Russia revolution, we wanted access to Russia's market. So that's why these powerful forces are so interested in, I guess,
Brandon,
wearing
Tom,
Russia down.
Who gives Zelensky this level of confidence to act as boldly as he did? Who?
Rogue elements of CIA.
Rogue elements of CIA.
Yeah.
What kind of power do the rogue elements of the CIA have that Trump's not going to be able to shut down and say, hey, what are you doing?
They're
You're
invisible.
Out. You think that's what's given Zelensky that power?
Yeah.
I don't know, because you have to realize this is not a regular thing. This is not a regular thing. I mean, to do something like this publicly, and not only that, you know what's even more irritating? What he said. Let me read it to you one more time. What he said. Think you're Putin. Yeah. Go be Putin for a second. Okay, not what you wore this morning, but be Putin for a second. Listen to the profile. I'm going to read it to you one more time. You ready? Here's what he said. Okay, this is Zelensky. An absolutely brilliant result. 1 year, 6 months, 9 days from the start of planning to effective execution, achieved solely by Ukraine. You're Putin. You wake up. Your general tells you this is what happened to our unit. And forget about that. That's $7 billion. We'll make the money from somewhere.
Yeah.
But Zelensky says this publicly to put an in your face on top of it that I'm not scared of you. How much longer does Putin have to go acting like he can be pushed around?
Oh, I don't expect him to keep acting like that. I expect it like a
How bad do you think the response is going to be, Tom? How bad do you think the response is going to be? Like, honestly, okay, so are we at a point where percentage of nuclear response, what percentage are you at? Nuclear, Tom. I'm going to ask all of you guys. Just 30 seconds, no explanation. Just give me what you think it is.
Okay.
0 to 200. Nuclear reaction.
0 to 200?
0 to 100%.
0 to 100. Well, remember, I think it's 50%, but there's 3 levels of nukes. There's depleted uranium weaponry. There's isolated nukes, which people believe have been used in warfare already. And then there's full-blown, the mushroom cloud.
Endgame.
I think there's a 0% chance of the mushroom cloud, but I believe there's tactical stuff out there that
What percentage you say?
I think it's 50% that
Okay,
he
Brandon,
can
where
move
you
to
at?
the tactical dirty bomb.
I say 10% for nukes, but like over 50% for the harshest action they've taken so far in the assembly. I think they'll throw everything they have at them except for nukes.
25 to 30% lower grade nukes, but we're like you said, we're talking about a guy that's been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed back. It's about to go down. I'm telling you right now. You think he's going to go quiet? You think Putin's not going to respond to that?
Adam.
Very low, less than 5%. He's been threatening nuclear war since the beginning of this war and has done nothing. 1 week ago, what did Trump say about Putin? He tweeted, Vladimir has gone crazy. Do you remember that?
Yep.
So I think that there's an element of this that Trump has felt disrespected. Trump realizes that he came out the box and said, I'm going to end this war on day 1. Meanwhile, it's day 150, whatever it is right now. I think he feels disrespected by Putin. I think he thought that Putin was someone that he could rationalize with. And what he's realizing is that the real dictator is Putin. Yes, Zelensky is not exactly a fan favorite around here anymore, But don't forget who the enemy is. It is Putin, not Zelensky.
Pat, you were asking about who's backing him or who gave him a green light. Remember, after the fight in the Oval Office and when Trump said, "I'm pulling funding," Zelensky went straight to the UK, met with Starmer. Starmer pledged unwavering support. Then Macron pledged unwavering support. And then on February 25th, Olaf Scholz of Germany pledged unwavering support. Remember, they said, "We will be your backstop bank. We'll be your hard money lender." Remember those deals they put in place, Pat? And they were a little bit worse than our deals. Remember that it would actually be a loan, and there was a dispute among
Then he did
France.
a whole skit about it. This
Remember,
is a week ago.
UK, France, and Germany, there's a dispute there. Remember, those three are selling, especially France. France is a war machine. Remember, they were selling war machines into Arab countries that were using them against Israel, and they were a member of NATO with us. Those three countries in February pledged support for Ukraine. I'm not sure about the CIA in the back. Do I think they're there? Yeah. Do I think they're calling all the shots?
CIA's always
Everyone?
there.
No. But the UK, but the Europeans, after the fight in the Oval Office with Vance, they all said, "Here's money, and we're here to help."
PBD, you sound like PBD, you sound the tone you sound unconvinced of something.
Yeah.
What is it that you're thinking?
Oh, no. I mean, look, if you're Trump, who are you more upset with right now, Putin or Zelensky?
Probably Putin.
No.
Zelensky.
Why would you be more
he
upset
just
at
Pearl
Putin?
Harbored them.
I want to know, why do you think he's more upset with Putin right now?
I think he had his moment in time with Zelensky where he basically dressed him down in the Oval Office. Since then, Zelensky has been
the only
his
way,
whipping
if
boy,
Zelensky,
and then he called Putin crazy.
Yeah, if
a week ago.
Zelensky did this without the support or conversation with Trump or anybody on his team, so no one from our administration knew about it. Those are two different things. If we knew about it, this is Trump's proxy war. Okay, if Trump knew about it. If Trump didn't know about it, and he did, I'm just telling you guys, I'm not here trying to make any kind of friends. I'm just telling you what the options could be. If he knew, Trump's officially in a proxy war, using Ukraine to attack Russia to get what he wants from Russia. And the only way somebody acts that brave is someone told you, "I got your back, bro."
100%.
Let me tell you, if we go and you're not let's just say you're not a tough guy, and there's a bunch of guys that are coming in, and you know you have a fight today, and then you go up and they roll up to you. 20 guys come up to you after high school, and you walk up, and you say, "Really? Let me tell you. If Patrick finds out you do anything, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, he's your friend? Of course. Oh, bro, we ain't got no problem, da-da-da-da-da. You can use my name." And you walk up and you're like, "Oh, do something, right?" That's Zelensky. Dude, you can't act like this without a backing. You can't do something like this without backing. Who the hell gave him the confidence to act like that? I don't know. By the way, I'm not telling you it's Trump. I don't know. All I'm saying is for you to be that freaking bold to make that kind of a statement, say it's an 18-month plan, and then say something like this, and you want Putin to sit there and be like, "Who the fuck?" I've been doing this for 20-some years. You guys are presidents for 4 years at a time. You guys are nobodies. That's how he views it. This Zelensky guy, he's a nobody. He's not in my class to be sitting at my table. Who the hell is he for me to sit down? That's how he views himself. He views himself as a king. He views himself as a leader above these guys. No, I don't know if I like this. And the only question I got is, who the hell is giving Zelensky this much confidence to think you can act this boldly after the minerals deal, after what happened with Russia, after Trump trying to do peace deal? You want to behave like this a week after Trump called out Putin, whatever he called out? I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me.
Follow the money.
Remember, one of the things
Zelensky
Zelensky wanted a backstop. And what you just said just triggered my memory of it. When he wouldn't sign the minerals deal first, he said, "I want the U.S. to commit to be a backstop." He basically wanted the NATO clause number, whatever it is, about...
Article 13.
Article 15. He wanted basically a form of Article 15 on the first minerals deal. Remember that? And Trump's like, "No, I'm not giving you a backstop because you're going to back there and you're not going to stop the war, and it forces me to keep feeding you." Somebody's, I agree, Pat. Somebody's in his ear and has told him it may not be public, but we got you.
I mean, but let's just CIA aside, Trump. I don't think Trump knows, guys. Lindsey Graham is there. He's a war hawk. He asked for 500% tariffs on Russia every time. He's the pin wearing. To hell with Putin. He's the enemy. It's right in front of our face. I don't know what else he told them, but for this type of attack, a Pearl Harbor attack. And that guy's there.
Do you think, America knows what happened with Epstein? Do you think Trump knows what happened with Epstein?
Yeah.
He knows 100%.
Do you think Trump knows what happened with Kennedy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think
Yes.
Trump knows what happened with 9/11?
No.
Do you think you don't think he does?
No.
You think Trump knows the dirt with Israel, AIPAC? Do you think he knows what those lobbyists are behind closed doors, the power?
He was in that network.
Do you think he knows all of those people and how the buying, the blackmail? Do you think he knows all that stuff?
Oh yeah, he grew up on it.
Yeah, he grew up on it.
That's the point. So,
But you think
I have a very hard time saying he knows this stuff and some kind of an intel wasn't dropped. This isn't a small move. You don't do something like this, and you mean to tell me I don't know and I don't have the intel? No. But all I'm saying is I'm not telling you he supported it. I'm not saying he supported it. And no one's sitting here talking about Lindsey Graham and where he's at and whatever he's doing. We want to make Lindsey Graham that powerful?
No.
You want him? You think he's that powerful?
He's not.
He's
definitely not.
One of many.
He shivers when he's around Trump.
Yeah.
He doesn't around Trump act hardcore and all this other stuff. No. Someone gave Zelensky the authority to act the way he did. I want to know who that is. I think if we know who that is, you can find out the rest 20 things that you want to know. If you only knew who gave him the authority to act as hard as he did.
Well, think about the powerful forces, though, that benefit if Putin falls and Russia gets opened up again to the world. Like you got BlackRock and JP Morgan chomping at the bit to get into Russia and Ukraine. And you got like one.
I get that. I get the whole 75 trillion, the most resources in the world.
That's a big thing.
I totally get that. But then tell me, so who would do that? Who gives Zelensky this kind of backing? You think it's BlackRock? You think it's Jamie Dimon?
No,
you think it's
a lot of it is
I think it's a coalition. I think it's a coalition that it's private businesses to some degree, and it's intelligence networks to some degree.
Bro. That's not enough because the private businesses cannot give you protection from a war. If this guy retaliates and say 100,000 people die in Ukraine, 500,000 people die in Ukraine, and he's capable of dropping a nuclear. What are you going to do now? Now we have a war around the freaking. It's a world war.
But remember,
then what happens when that takes place?
Intelligence agencies operate through businesses, though. That's like their main way. They do espionage.
I know they do, but I need backing. So where do I get backing to know that a reaction won't be taking place? If a reaction takes, in this case, who is Japan? In this instance, who is Japan?
Japan is Ukraine.
Japan is Ukraine.
Okay, yeah.
Who is U.S.?
Russia.
Russia.
Yeah.
What happened after what Japan did?
Nagasaki and
How
Hiroshima.
hardcore did Japan act?
Hardcore.
And then what happened?
Yeah, they got messed up.
They got messed up. So what do you think Putin's thinking right now? If I'm in his room, I don't know.
I agree with everything you're saying. Can I give you one caveat, though?
Yeah, go for it.
Because we're using a metaphor of Pearl Harbor. The reason that might be a little off is they're already at war. They're already going blow for blow, punch for punch, bomb for bomb, missile for missile. The reason that Pearl Harbor was so over the top dramatic because it came out of nowhere. It came out of completely nowhere. These two countries are already at war. So, what do they say is like, all is fair in love and war. This is what's happening right now.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If this morning we're coming in, you don't have phone. We take your phone away from you since midnight. You don't have access to news or anything. We put you in a bedroom. Here in the office, you have access to nothing. Mm-hmm. And we make a list of things that happened. And we make them up. Where would you rank that this happened this morning? We make 10 stories. And we tell you, last night, Ukraine, similar to Pearl Harbor, shot up 40 bombers in Russia in a drone attack like never seen before. Where would you rank that?
As far as shocked, oh my God, that happened?
Yes.
Not in my top 2 or 3.
It wouldn't even be in your top 5.
No.
Okay, so I just went out right now and asked the question, what is the worst Ukraine, what's the worst, can you go to a ChatGPT type in, what's the worst attack Ukraine has had on Russia so far? What's the worst attack Ukraine has had on Russia so far? Okay, let's see what it says. I got my answer, I'm curious to know, sometimes it's got different answers for different people, but let's see what it says. Boom, which one is that?
June 1st, 2025, Operation Spiderweb.
That's the one. So, bro, no one expected this.
Yeah.
This isn't a regular thing. We're sitting here thinking pieces around the corner. You think this accelerated the process of peace?
No, this definitely hindered the process. For
and
sure.
Guess who slowed it down? Zelensky. What do you mean you drop in 41 Russian and then you brag about it publicly? When you brag about it publicly right there, a guy like Putin, if you're the leader of that country, you have to show strength. You have to show strength. And I don't want any war. I don't want to see anything happen. I've lived in the middle of war until today when I hear certain sounds. It takes me back to being a kid in Iran. I don't want war anywhere. I don't want anybody dying. But if you behave this way, someone gave you the confidence that's going to be okay. Somebody said, don't worry about it. Go, we got your back. Who? I want to know. And riddle me this. Who said that you can attack and we got your back? That's all I want to know.
Right.
There's a bunch of weird guys that connect me. And a couple of the guys, I don't know their names. So I tell them, I said, are you with the CIA? Who are you with? Because it's almost like you're trying to instill some of the stuff
We
in me.
get that guy too.
Yeah. And I'll say,
I'm
hey.
not going to say it.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I appreciate it because he's always he gives very interesting angles. But for me, you cannot sit here and be naive, assuming this happened and others didn't know. Yeah, Zelensky did this by himself and nobody knew about this, and a big back, and Lindsey Graham is the one that's going to have his back. What you think Lindsey Graham is? So let's role play that conversation. Hey, Zelensky, what's up? I'm Lindsey Graham. Attack him. I got your back, dog.
Oh no, who sent Lindsey Graham?
Okay.
Maybe the CIA
Who
sent
sent
him.
Lindsey Graham?
Maybe the rogue people from the CIA. But what are the timing?
Well, who sent them? Vinny, go there. I sincerely want to be convinced.
It has to be somebody or a group that wants war with Russia.
But who?
Well, But
you have to give me backing.
Meaning what?
If I'm Zelensky, you have to give me backing.
Like a guarantee, like you're going to be okay.
You have to give it to me, and you don't control the military. You're a world leader. I'm not. I'm a senator.
Mm-hmm.
You're a world leader, okay? You're Zelensky. I'm Senator Graham. Who have you sat across?
I mean, the
Who have you sat across versus me?
You're with all leaders and everybody. I'm just a senator.
No. You are Zelensky.
the president. Oh,
I'm just a
I've sat
senator.
with everybody.
So in your eyes, how do you look at me?
You're like not a peasant, but you're an errand boy for the government.
Relax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 400 people like you that work for me.
Yeah.
Chill out, bro.
Yeah.
You're not that big of a deal. Okay.
Yeah.
I come to you and I say, hey, listen, I got the backing. CIA's got your back.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe me?
As Lindsey Graham saying it to me?
Do you believe me that I go and say Boeing's got your back, General Dynamics has your back? Go. We got your back. Go.
Well, that's a bigger deal if defense contractors do.
But do you believe me? I pulled up a contract and I looked at it and said, who's given the most money to Ukraine? Guess who's number one? What country?
United States.
No, it's Germany, $132 billion. Who's number two? Us, $119 billion. Who's number three? UK. Germany's given $132 billion since 2022 to them.
Mm-hmm.
So why? I'm trying to fully understand who gave this guy permission to behave the way he did. I would be say I'm Trump and I don't know, and you behave that way, I'm on his ass right now. And don't be surprised, in the next 6 hours, if President Trump comes out with a Truth Social message bashing Zelensky, you know he didn't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's playing politics.
Mm-hmm.
If he comes out bashing Putin, if he comes out trying to be peacemaker, but, someone made this guy believe he can go as hard as he wants.
And I know you want to change, but the Crimean Bridge was attacked for the third time by Ukraine security, and there's videos Valuetainment posted as well. They're still on the offensive.
What's this, Rob?
This is that's the Crimean Bridge. The Crimean Bridge was attacked for the third
When
time
is
by
this?
Ukraine. Yeah. This is a little while ago.
Today?
Today, June 3rd. June 3rd at 4:40 p.m.
Who did that?
Ukraine security services executed a covert underwater operation targeting the Crimean Bridge, also known as the Kerch Bridge. This marks the third time Ukraine has struck the strategic infrastructure since the onset of the war. It's involving planting 1,100 kilograms of explosives underwater for months to do this.
Well, PBD, I got to give you credit. You're asking all the right questions about
don't
who's
know
funding
any of
this.
this
No,
stuff.
you're
Yeah.
asking questions.
Yeah.
There's a famous phrase: "He who pays says." Whoever is funding this operation, which you just read the list, Germany, United States, EU,
I don't like
defense contractors, they're basically saying, "Keep going. We're not ending this war anytime soon."
History has proxies for us, Pat, and they're scary proxies. Remember, it was December 7th, 1941 was Pearl Harbor.
A day that'll live infamy, Tom.
Yep. And it was 4 years later, after military things were going on and, all the things, Lady Gulf and everything that went on, the U.S. decided to touch civilian targets in 1945. And people forget that the bombing of Tokyo in March of 1945 was the most devastating. It was more devastating than the two atomic weapons. It was 100,000 people, civilians. We went after civilian targets. And what worries me is that when governments lose patience on military, Pat, you know what I'm saying? When people lose patience on the military side and you just couldn't get the Emperor of Japan to break, you go after the civilian targets, and then 5 months later, it was the two atomic weapons. And it was the power of the weapons that caused Japan to back off. And it scares me to death because that was a long-term, protracted war that Japan wouldn't back down. And we finally went for civilian targets. 90,000 civilians died in Tokyo in March of 1945. And what scares me is
Tom, I want to move on, Tom. Yeah, I want to move on. I want to move on because for me, when I'm hearing this, we're on the same page. There's a lot of uncertainty. I don't feel good about it. The timing of it sucks. Like the last thing we need something like that. We're barely, the economy is like kind of getting a little bit more. This is the last thing we need at a time like this to be thrown. Now, the only thing, if I add the last skepticism, whoever wants Trump to lose the credibility of being a peace president could have influence on causing this to say during his regime, there was a world war. And the left will win from that. They will win from that. So is this a China influence? I don't think. Is this I don't know. But to me, there's a lot of moving parts here. Let's move on to the next story. Okay. So I'm going to go into economy because this kind of goes with economy for me. So for the first time, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, first time in 100 years, U.S.'s credit rating is officially AA from all three rating services. I don't know if you heard about this. First time in 100 years, right, if I'm not mistaken, since the 1920s.
Correct.
That we now have AA with Fitch, AA with Moody, and AA with S&P.
Yeah.
All three of them. Okay, so this doesn't happen. What does that mean? You know, when I was selling junk bonds or you sell bonds and you buy a junk bond, they would pay 20% or 24% or 18%. What is a junk bond? You're like, oh my God, it pays 18%. Yeah, but it's most likely to go out of business because they're not going to be able to pay off the debt. It's like a desperation de-paper. But if you get something that's like, oh, it pays 3.5% treasury bond, it's a T-bill, it's a T-bond, it's a 10-year, it's a da-da-da-da-da. Credibility is you're guaranteed to get paid on this, right? So the lower it goes, rates go up. We were talking about this yesterday, Brandon, so I'm going to come to you here in a minute, but I want to play a clip for you guys from Jamie Dimon. Rob, if you can play the clip of the crack in the bond market, you know, if you have, is this the one?
This is it.
Go for it, Rob. Play this clip.
You know, these are very large numbers. You've seen it a little bit. You know, you had the crack in the bond market in COVID a little bit. You know, the government did the right stuff, then they massively overdid both spending and QE. We borrowed and spent $10 trillion from 2020 to today. Wow. Okay, and you heard the numbers before. We also bought $4 trillion of your securities on top of the $4 trillion we bought in the first go round. Those numbers are true globally, not quite as big as ours, but the QE of us was $8 trillion. The QE of the rest of the world was another $8 trillion or something like that. You're talking about huge sums of money. We don't really know the full effect of that. And you know, the bond dealers, which Gary mentioned, you know, inventories are much smaller than they used to be, partially because of rules and regulations. And you are going to see a crack in the bond market, okay? It is going to happen. And I tell this to my regulators, some of who are in this room, I'm telling you it's going to happen, and you're going to panic. I'm not going to panic. We'll be fine. We'll probably make more money, and then some of my friends will tell me that we like crises because it's good for J.P. Morgan Chase. Not really. I tell people when Credit Suisse went bankrupt at the First Republic, it was terrible for the banking industry. I think we can make everything better, including that, by just changing and modifying certain rules and regulations, letting market makers intermediate more in the market. But to give you a number, like just J.P. Morgan alone buys and sells $3 trillion a day. And we move $10 trillion a day of money. And we're probably a tenth. So the money moving around the world is $100 trillion a day. The money moving around the investments, you know, this is stocks, bonds, corporates, governments, derivatives, credit, you name it, FX, sovereign debt around the world, 30 trillion. The people who set those long-term rates are those people, including you in the room. It's not the Federal Reserve. They can try to manipulate the long-term rate. They can do the, what's it called, you know, they do the twist or whatever. It doesn't work for that long. So if you look at economic history, bad things happen. When those tectonic plates shift, it's very hard to see in real time. It is shifting, and this is one of them. I just don't know if it's going to be a crisis in 6 months or 6 years. And I'm hoping that we change both the trajectory of the debt and the ability of market makers to make markets. And also remember, there are a lot of people, you know, going down to Washington who actually like bad markets. You know, and the problem with the bad markets isn't that it's bad for the big banks who make markets. It's bad for the people who raise money. Small businesses, asset-backed securities, middle market companies, corporations, the United States government. And that volatility scares people. You can pause it right there.
He almost said it, but he didn't want to say it. Of course a bad economy helps these guys out. Didn't they buy up a couple companies last time? And, you know, anyways, Brandon, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, he's saying the bond market's gonna crack. I don't know how we could say the bond market's not cracked already. Like, I don't think it's a normal thing at all for the Federal Reserve to own $20 trillion worth of bonds and mortgages, just to keep interest rates at a normal level. And like, then with them having that, they're still having a hard time keeping them normal. And like he said, yeah, it is mostly the like private investors that move the bond market around. They say it's the smartest money in the world because it's like the biggest pile of money in the world. But yeah, it's because Trump's showing no semblance of any interest in reducing the deficit and like reeling in spending. They keep talking about this $500 trillion of assets that America has, but like, show that first before like putting this stupid bill forward that's going to put us into more debt that has no interest in saving money or reducing what we're spending. And then DOGE was a disaster, a complete failure. Maybe they baked that into a degree when he promised $1 trillion or $2 trillion. So yeah, of course, like, it started falling apart when he proposed that bill, when it looked like that bill was going to pass. And yeah, I'm right there with him. It's I'm super disappointed that Trump is showing no interest in really in the national debt, and I think it's disastrous for everybody.
2 questions for you, Tom. One, how bad is it that our rating is now AA, Fitch, Moody, and S&P? And what are your thoughts on what Jamie Dimon said in this clip?
Well, I'll break it into 3 parts. First of all, the rating agencies just said what has been a reality for the past 5 years since that $20 trillion was suddenly stacked on top of the debt. What are we today? 36.5?
Yeah.
Right? Is that the total national?
Almost 37, yeah.
Almost, let's call it 37. 37 trillion in debt. So the rating agencies just did what should have been done probably 5 years ago when that the only path forward is they raise a debt ceiling. That's the only path forward. Why? Because the yields are at 4.5% right now. So you take 37 trillion times 4.5%. That's your mortgage payment of the United States of America that's in the federal budget. And so now you have this perpetual momentum machine, Pat, where, oh, well, I can't hardly afford the minimum payments on my credit card. Don't worry. We'll do a debt consolidation loan. We'll put your 2 credit cards together on just a little bit less interest rate, and then you pay. That's the momentum we're at. So what is Jamie Dimon talking about? He's saying, hey, look, at some point in time, this is going to crack. And when it cracks, there's going to be buyers, there's going to be sellers. And he came out and said it. Oh, this was bad for the banking industry. This was horrible for the banking industry, except it was J.P. Morgan that picked up all the good parts when Humpty Dumpty fell and broke, when he's talking about First Republic, right? They came in, hey, you know those, not the commercial stuff here, this stuff here. Yeah, we'll take that and we'll pay this and we'll pay that, so they could help clean up the bankruptcy so it wouldn't be a full federal bailout. So Jamie Dimon was right. And he was honest about the fact that he benefits, but he was also honest about the fact that we have not had a full settling of the $20 trillion that we added to our debt in 4 short years. Actually, it's 4, not 5. And we're now, the yields are going up, so now we're paying 4.5% interest on that, which is making it worse, which is why they keep raising the debt ceiling and getting even more debt, because they can't get the budget through Congress. And so I share Brandon's concern. It's like, wait a minute, in the big, beautiful bill, I thought we were supposed to have some big, beautiful cuts.
We'll talk about the big, beautiful bill. I want to show you this, though, Rob. Can you play the other clip by Jamie Dimon? Says, instead of stockpiling on Bitcoin, you should be stockpiling in bullets. And yeah, if you can play this clip.
To that point, do we need to rethink what constitutes national security?
I wouldn't rethink it. We know what constitutes national security. We need, I was saying we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. We should be stockpiling guns, bullets, tanks, planes, drones, rare earths. We know what we need to do. This is not a mystery.
Did you say stockpiling Bitcoin?
I said we shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin.
Oh, it shouldn't be. Okay.
We should be stockpiling bullets.
Okay.
The military guys tell you that, if there's a war in the South China Sea, we have missiles for 7 days.
That's correct.
Okay, come on. I mean, we can't say that with a straight face and think that's okay. So we know what to do. We just got to now go about doing it.
Adam, thoughts?
There's so much to unpack here, and this is the number one issue for, at least for me, is as amazing as America is, as the opportunity economy, we're in, the land of opportunity, we are freaking broke. If this was any household in America where you have this massive income, amazing income, right? But then, by the way, don't look over here. You're running a $2 trillion deficit every year. What the hell would you do in your house?
Chapter 13.
All right, Chapter 13, file for bankruptcy. We're going to sell one of the cars. Nope. Sell the boat. Pull the kids out of private school. We're not eating out. It's ramen noodles. It's soup. We're holding down the fort. We got to get this shit together. And unfortunately, the U.S. right now is just like, nope, keep spending. There's this big, beautiful bill. It's big, it's beautiful. Elon Musk, who just left DOGE, came out and said, well, it can't be both. It can either be big or it can be beautiful, but it's going to be very hard to be big and beautiful. So, Trump, I would hope, doesn't add more to the deficit, doesn't add more to the debt, but you just said that DOGE was an astronomical failure.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with that. There's a lot to say about what Elon Musk is talking about with his black eye, but remains to be seen.
So let me continue. I thought you said have a lot to unpack on this. So here you're talking about the big beautiful bill. Okay, on this topic we're talking about Jamie Dimon and how he's viewing the market. I want to transition into the next topic here, which is Elon Musk and Trump. Okay, they said he's going to work for 4 months, 110 days, whatever the number was. It's done. He's moving on. No longer there. You're saying DOGE was a massive failure. Your words.
Yep.
They said $2 trillion, then they lowered it to $2 trillion, but it's at $170 billion in only 4 months. Isn't that a success? Some people would say, Brandon, 4 months to be able to save that much money, and maybe there was a follow on because the two, he would have wanted to do it in a certain way, but he doesn't have the control because Trump's doing it. He would have gone to, nobody knows. There's a lot of different things that's going on. I've been calling this that there's going to be a lifespan of how long this is going to work out since day one. I said this in October of last year, that this is going to be tough for the two to work together. Rob, can you start off with the first clip of the big, beautiful bill and then go to one by one? Yeah, this is the one. Go ahead and play this clip. Watch this, folks.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
Okay, so this happens. Then there's some comments that Trump made about him. Rob, I don't know if you have that one.
I do.
If you have it, just go to it. Is this the one?
Is this from the Oval Office at the departure ceremony? This is where President Trump gives Elon Musk a key to the White House and talks about all of the trials and tribulations he went through heading up DOGE.
Yeah, I think there's another one.
The BS one?
The BS one. Yeah, I think there's another one where Trump questioned extent of Musk's DOGE cuts.
So that's a report. There's no actual video clip for
okay.
that.
God, let me just read that. And by the way, and this is from Forbes magazine, which has become a leftist China. I don't even want to get into it. Forbes is not the Forbes of what it was 10 years ago, not what it was 5 years ago. It's a whole different company today, but I'll read this to you and let's go into that. So Trump questioned Elon Musk's DOGE cuts, expressed skepticism about the savings claimed by billionaire advisor Elon Musk's Department of DOGE, reportedly asking, was it all bullshit? According to unnamed administration officials cited by Wall Street Journal, questioned Musk's promise to cut $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction, which Musk reiterated during a Friday Oval Office press conference with Trump. DOGE claimed it had saved an estimated $175 billion through workforce reductions, grant cancellations, contract cancellations, and more, equating to $1,086 per taxpayer, but faced scrutiny for inaccuracies such as claiming $8 billion in savings from an immigration contract valued at $8 million, with a BBC analysis finding only about half of the itemized savings published by DOGE were linked to receipts or other forms of evidence, some listed as unavailable for legal reasons. So that's Wall Street Journal and Forbes. I mean, you can say there's no credibility there, but I'm reading that story. This leads to the key, the ending, the conversation, and the question about maybe some of the personal activities that he's having. Go ahead, Rob.
Elon gave an incredible service. Nobody like him. And he had to go through the slings and the arrows, which is a shame because he's an incredible patriot. The good news is that 90% of the country knows that, and they appreciate it, and they really appreciate what he did. And I gave him a little special something we have here.
Thank you.
A very special that I give to very special people. I have given it to some, but it goes to very special people, and I thought I'd give it to Elon as a presentation from our country.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Rob, so this leads to the black eye. There's a video of showing the way Elon is moving. I think that's the one, the behavior. A lot of people questioning things. Go for it.
It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. but I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting.
That's the
but
Doge
Harvard's
father
trying
right
to
there.
be a big shot. And
Dreaming
all
of
that
space.
happens is every 3 days we find another 100.
What do you think about that behavior?
Did you hear what he said about the black eye? Did you hear he said he got
Yeah,
it?
the son.
He says, yeah, you know, I was just wrestling with my son, and I said, yeah, you should punch him in the eye. So he just stuck me in the face. You ever have your, I know Tico likes to throw some punches. You ever have him punch you in the face?
Well, I mean,
highly doubtful.
I mean, we were there, was at the UFC fight till 3 o'clock in the morning, awake watching.
Okay, but you think that you get a black eye from a 4-year-old punching
He might
in the
have
face?
punched him in the face. Listen, again, we don't know the true story, but from looking at that behavior, I mean, it could be two things. He just got fired, and he's listening to the boss keep talking.
How much credibility do you give to the fact that he's been running around with this quote-unquote daily medication box filled with ketamine, ecstasy, mushrooms, and Adderall?
Distraction. I mean, there's something really scary.
You don't
here.
think that there's any credibility?
I don't care about it because of how scary what I actually think happened here. I think that this is predatory because I think the Doge thing was a show because all he did was cut contracts, cut a few jobs, didn't touch defense, didn't touch Medicare, didn't touch Social Security. But what he did do is extract all of the data from the Treasury, from all the government departments, and then makes a deal with Palantir.
How do you know that he did that?
Which part?
The extracted all the information.
Because like they got the data to go through all of that.
How do you know that though?
I mean, I researched it and asked ChatGPT, and it said like, yeah, they collected vast amounts of data, and I asked Grok.
So
I don't know.
So you think he took the data from the citizens of the United States to use in his own benefit long term?
Well, the most important thing for when you're building an AI is to get good data, and the biggest, most vast amount of data is what he had access to. So that's a pretty well established thing, is that he was able to acquire all that data. It's still really unconceivable like how much he actually got, but it seems that he plugged that into XAI and then merged XAI with X and then partnered with Palantir, which Palantir is like, we'll talk about that later, but that's like a straight up like CIA contractor that harvests our data, and it's probably like the biggest data center in the world. So that's scary for a whole bunch of reasons, but it seemed like the degree to which he had no interest in even touching the things that are truly wasteful makes me think that this whole thing was about the data from the first place.
I think there's a different. I understand what you're saying. I think.
Is it ridiculous?
I think Elon Musk got his little fix with working on the government. Looked behind the curtain, said, I want none of this. Do you understand that in December of 2024, before the inauguration, Elon Musk was the richest man in the world. His net worth was $486 billion, almost $500 billion. 3 months later, he lost $150 billion. He was worth $330 billion. Now the stock has just come back up. I think there's a part of an element of his team around him that's like, bro, you're losing $1 billion a day.
That's not the scorecard he looks at.
You don't think that he looks at his net worth and gives a shit that he lost $150 billion?
Can you pull up the Peter Doocy questioning of him? Hey, there's stories about the drugs and all this other stuff, and his response about New York Times and winner. Is this the one, Rob?
Yep.
Go for it. Watch this.
Mentioned that you had to deal with all the slings and arrows during your time at DOGE. There's this.
Well, some of the people, some of the media organizations in this room were the slingers.
Well, so there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
Yes, it is.
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times, let's move on.
Okay.
I mean,
that behavior, do you think he's using it? Do you think he's on stuff?
I don't know.
Ketamine? Do you think yeah. But guess what? Do you give a shit?
No.
I don't give a shit.
No, I care much more about what he might have.
I don't. That's your business. It's like Glenn Greenwald. He's doing what in his personal life? You want to release a video because you want to use that as a way for him? I don't care what you're doing in your personal life. But, if you have access to information and you are using stuff and that information is given to you while you're on things, that is a problem.
Yeah, because Adam, you said he just came in, he has little thing, and no. If he's one of the most, he's the richest guy on like that we know. What do you think his motive was for putting all that money to the Trump administration to win? So Trump wins. He's the number one backer. Okay, yeah, he helped with DOGE and everything, but there's other. I don't think Elon got worked or used, because Brandon's making good points. he's getting what he's getting out of this situation as well. Every week there's another rocket being launched. They're doing low orbit satellites. Every week is another rocket being launched. He's setting up for something bigger for all the robots.
Are you happy he's no longer in the White House working with Trump?
I'm indifferent. Well, here's the thing. They ruined his whole, with Tesla. I'm happy that the stock went up, but look at all the crap that he's had to go through just to help Trump win, because he said that humanity was on the line.
Are you
He did
glad
his job.
he's out?
I'm indifferent. It doesn't matter.
Are you glad he's out?
No, I'm devastated that DOGE was seemed like a fake operation. Like, I was very excited about what it said it was going to be and like what it was like talking about doing.
What does Vivek look like now?
I was just going to talk about
running
Vivek.
for governor of Ohio. Oh, you mean in terms of
what does
if
Vivek
he was right or
look
wrong?
like now?
I think the biggest
let
issue.
me ask my
yeah,
question.
sure. No, I was really going to talk about Vivek.
Yeah,
Go
okay,
ahead.
I'll come to you. What does Vivek look like now? Now that this has taken place 100 days after Trump's administration with DOGE.
I never understood that Elon Musk would be the person running DOGE. You're already running Tesla, SpaceX, and a dozen other companies. You have Vivek, who's a rising star in the Republican Party, coming out. He was the first person talking about government efficiency. And all of a sudden, Elon shows up, throws $250 million behind Trump, and then he becomes dark MAGA, and then ousts Vivek from basically the thing that Vivek almost started. It never made sense to me. It never made sense to me that he basically just pushed Vivek out, and it became the issue about the H-1B visa. Remember that whole drama that they had?
Yeah.
I thought Vivek would be the guy running this. I never thought for a million years that Elon would be the guy that would stay through this entire situation while running multiple companies, while basically trying to occupy Mars.
What was he doing, Adam? He hired a bunch of young nerds to run the show. It's not like he was punching in a clock. He had a little office, but it wasn't like
he was in the Oval Office every single day.
Okay, Rob, watch this. Play this clip. Play this clip. Play this
All right.
clip.
Was there any drug testing or any request for him to drug test when he was in the White House, given the fact that he was also a contractor with the government?
Fortunately for you and all the friends at CNN, you'll have the opportunity to ask Elon all the questions you want today yourself. In the meantime, the drugs I'm concerned about are the drugs that are coming across the border from the criminal cartels that are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. And we're going to save hundreds of thousands of lives if these district courts would just get the hell out of the way.
Pause it right there. So anyways, look, we'll see. A part of me is glad he's not in the White House. A part of me is glad he's not in the White House. And I don't think the president would have won without him. I think he needed him. I think he was a phenomenal flag carrier. I think he looks tired. Even he, who is the closest thing that we have to a robot as a human being, he looks unhappy and wants to get back to fulfilling his vision, whatever that vision for him is, to knowing that he can never be the president of the United States. He's going to go and build his own vision and to be in pursuit of. But I love also how Trump handled the whole thing on the gentle, thank you for your contribution. He did great work, 90% of America. This whole transition was done in a very classy way. And you better believe he's still going to be an advisor. They're still going to be calling him. And I still think it has a possibility of getting very, very, very nasty. I hope it doesn't. This was a very smooth transition. I hope they stay here. Let's go to the next story here. Harvard has trained so many Chinese communist officials, they call it their party school. Rob, if you have this clip here from Wall Street Journal, they call it their party school. Let me read this to you. So, Harvard University, particularly its Kennedy School of Government, has been a key destination for Chinese Communist Party officials, earning the nickname Party School in China. As noted in 2014 Shanghai Observer commentary, if we were to rank the Chinese Communist Party's overseas party schools, the one deserving top spot has to be Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government in the U.S. The Trump administration, led by Marco Rubio, announced by Wednesday a plan to tighten visa criteria for Chinese students with Communist Party ties, potentially revoking visas for those in critical fields, prompting Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning to state, seriously damaged the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese students. Go ahead, Rob.
Meanwhile, as the Trump administration works to cap Harvard's foreign enrollment, a new Wall Street Journal report outlines how much the university has become a training ground for CCP leadership, all on the American taxpayers' dime. The list goes on and on. You have a former vice president, a former vice premier, the country's current top trade negotiator. They have all passed through Harvard's elite programs. According to the report, they affectionately call it their, quote, party school, and not the party like the fraternity. It's raising serious questions about how much influence Beijing has gained inside our own institutions.
Okay, Tom, your thoughts on this?
So my first thought is this, Brendan.
What's up?
I tell you, listen, over the next 10 years, this is what I want to do. I want you to get 20 of our best and brightest students, and I want to get them into universities in Beijing, and I want them to study foreign policy over there, and I want them to, assimilate with classmates and get really close to people. And really what we're going to do is a shadow spy network. We're also going to learn everything we can over there. Okay, you go over to China and try to do that. How many minutes does it take for them to throw you out on your ass?
Yeah, in seconds.
Seconds, correct. And we allowed it. So I look at it, Pat, we allowed this. We freaking allowed it. In the name of globalism, we allowed them to do what they would never allow us to do. I look at social media over there, over here. How many examples do we need? It shocks me that we are so shocked. There's my point.
I love it. Brandon, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, China's one of the biggest donors to Harvard, and Harvard's a weird thing where it gets like all these privileges from the government, where it's a tax-exempt organization. They got their big giant endowment. They, they've had a lot of CIA work done there. So I think Harvard needs to have a lot more attention paid to it. And yeah, Tom's right that we don't treat other countries the same way that they would treat us in a lot of these situations when it comes in terms of defending national security. Like when I went to school, there were like kids who were from the Middle East who were driving Ferraris and stuff that like their parents were like oil tycoons and whatnot. Like in my national security classes, like learning about like how to like the CIA works and how the NSA works and everything. So it's ridiculous. It's a joke.
Yeah. And by the way, while this is going on, there's a story that comes out from Newsweek. Xi Jinping's daughter faces call to be deported from U.S. Laura Loomer called for the deportation of Chinese President Xi Jinping's daughter, Xi Mingzhe, claiming she lives in Massachusetts and went to Harvard, and alleging PLA guards from CCP provided her private security on the U.S. soil. Though no public evidence supports Mingzhe's current U.S. residency, as the New Yorker reported, she returned to China in 2015 after graduating from Harvard University. Loomer's allegations follow Secretary Marco Rubio's announcement that U.S. will aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students. Adam, your thoughts on this?
So there's three things going on here. Number one, follow the money. You import these international students, the best and brightest minds in the world. You train top talents, and then you just send them back to their countries with all our culture, with all our information, and then just their countries reap the benefits for the 4, 5, 10 years that they spend in the United States. This to me is reverse ROI. So they get to build the future in their country, but learn it here in America. This makes absolutely no sense to me. If you're going to have these people here, you keep them here and let them be an asset for America. And then you've come out to find that Xi Jinping, what's his job again? Oh, the communist dictator of China. His daughter goes where? To Harvard? Are you flipping kidding me? You don't think she's reporting back to daddy? Unfreaking believable. Then you have the whole situation with, remember the fire results that the Freedom Information of Repressive Expression, whatever it is, basically what the least free university is in the world for as far as free speech, Harvard. So then you have the whole situation that's happening with Trump, the war that Trump is waging on Trump. I think he's basically hijacking or holding back $3 billion. By the way, Harvard has what? $50 billion endowment?
Yeah.
So there's a whole conversation of what's happening with Trump and Harvard, but there's no free speech. They indoctrinate, they don't educate. And this is my biggest problem with Harvard. They're raising an entire class of our citizens who not only don't love America, they don't barely like America, they hate America. And Harvard's supposed to be this bastion of free speech and this intellectual, amazing community. And they seem to be like they hate America.
And they're getting more pressure today than ever before, and rightfully so.
Exactly.
Rightfully so is what's happening today right now, and I'm glad it is taking place to the point where Bill Maher blasts Harvard University in an asshole. It's an asshole factory. Watch this one. You go for it.
Harvard situation. Trump has declared full-scale war on Harvard, and like so many things he does, there's a kernel of a good idea there. I mean, I've been shitting on Harvard long before he was.
Look at that.
You went to Cornell.
That's not why. No. It's because Harvard is an asshole factory in a lot of ways that produces smirking fuck faces. Okay.
Thank you.
Did this go to the Harvard?
In his face.
He has 3 degrees from Harvard. He has 3 degrees from Harvard. So he is
present company accepted. I think we know.
Triple
indicted. He's a fuck face times 3.
Well,
Exactly.
okay.
Says the Dartmouth guy.
But I could name a lot of people. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, when you get the sides on the left end agreeing with Trump on what's going on with Harvard, this is probably the worst season for Harvard. Harvard's not in a good place right now with everything that they're getting exposed with. Back to back to back. You know how some brands get a black eye and then you wonder how they recovered from it? Like, Budweiser. We saw them go through until Dana White came and saved them. And I don't even know if they fully saved them yet or not. I don't know if they've recovered from it, right? You go through AIG. They got a black eye in the 2008. They recovered from it. People forgot about what happened with AIG because of a great CEO, Bob and Moshe. I don't know how Harvard's going to recover from this anytime soon because they're losing people from the left, the right, and the center. They're not just losing people from one side. They're losing people from all sides. So it'll be interesting to see how they make their next moves to get back in the market again of being an attractive place for parents to want to send their kids to school. So watch this. Freed Israeli hostage. It says Hamas captors were rooting for Harris to beat Trump. Now, why would they be doing this? This is on CNN. And CNN is interviewing this guy, just got freed, trying to get some gotcha information, and he kept giving them the answer they did not want to hear. He was held hostage for 500 days before he was freed. Says the captain, we're hoping Vice President Kamala Harris would win in 2024 president election, and here's why.
Very scared of him. Yeah, they wanted...
Who?
Terrorists.
We're afraid of Trump.
Yeah, they wanted Kamala to be chosen, to be elected.
You talked politics with them?
Yeah. They wanted Kamala to be elected. When Trump became president,
CNN loves
the way they treated us changed. For me, personally, this is what I
think
felt.
because they anticipated that a deal would come soon.
Yeah.
And that's when they started giving you more food.
Exactly. More food, treated me better, stopped cursing me, stopped spitting on me.
Vinny, thoughts?
I mean, just that right there just shows you how much respect and fear Trump had. The fact that terrorists or have a hostage and they went from beating him up all the time, spitting on him, doing whatever, God knows what to him, to changing everything because they knew Trump was going to put in. And I still, pal, I was thinking about this today, especially with whatever podcast we have coming up. The bullet that we dodged with Kamala Harris and the left and what they were pushing and all these fake-ass people like Jake Tapper all acting surprised about Biden and what they've been doing since 2016. And it's going to keep going. What we've been dodging and what we've been fighting to get to where we are is insane. And it goes beyond words to see what type of leadership that we have right now. And I just hope, I just hope it keeps going.
I mean, the first question I have is how much credibility do you give to the hostage after his release? Do you think he's telling the truth?
Of course.
There's a lot of, I would say 90% chance he's telling the truth.
Why would he make it up?
I don't know. I'm not saying that he's lying at all. I think there's a big component of this that, yes, Hamas and their backers would love to see a weak president named Kamala Harris in the Oval Office. I think, no doubt. I think Trump's a little frustrated that he hasn't gotten all the hostages out. I think Trump has used a lot of bluster and says, all right, today's the day. If you don't have it today, all right, next week. I think Trump has no problem setting deadlines and then basically sort of says, all right, we're going to extend it. We're going to give it another couple days, couple weeks. We'll see what happens there. There's still, I think, over 50 hostages in the tunnels of Hamas, which leads us to basically what happened this past weekend when a illegal immigrant, I think, basically from Egypt, I want to say, basically went and set fire, a Molotov cocktail in Boulder, Colorado. So they're coming to a city near you, whether you like it or not. And it's weird to me that, anytime you see Gays for Gaza, it's like this weird, marriage of the far left and the far right who are both lost their damn minds, come together, and this is what you get. You want to play this clip? Do we have something?
No. Let's stay on this. Hang on a second. Tom, your thoughts on the story?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm glad that
Adam, hang tight when we're transitioning stories.
Sure.
Well, let's address stories and then we'll transition. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'm very glad that Omer Shemtov is, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, is home, safe, and able to tell the story. I don't evaluate whether it's 92%, 90%, but it makes sense. And it shows you the importance of strong leadership on a world stage. If all we do is talk about what this guy said, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't, you're missing the fact that strong leadership on a world stage makes a difference in the world for everybody. And I believe what he's saying. I believe what others have said, that they wanted weak U.S. leadership. They wanted pablum coming out of the White House. That's what they wanted. And when you had strong leadership come in, I want those other 50 people home, and I want us to finish the job. Because people feared Trump when he came in, and they feared him for the right reasons, and I want to see this job finished, and I want those other 50 people like Omer Shemtov to come home.
Yeah. So look, I mean, obviously what you like when we were talking about the 4 qualities, respect, love, like, fear. When you see an interview like this, you want your leader to be feared by other countries. Nobody feared Biden. Literally nobody.
Yep.
And nobody feared Kamala. No one did. No one feared Kamala.
Quite the opposite.
Right? Quite the opposite, yeah. So they did want something like that. So for a guy like that to be in a White House that imposes fears on our enemies, you want that. You like that. That's a good thing for us to have. So now let's go to the next thing. Rob, if you want to put up the clip about this Egyptian fellow who, let me go through the exact story. Rob, can you tell me what page this is as I'm going through it, if we have it here? Because it's a tragic, I mean, the fact that we knew this guy was going to do what he was going to do and we didn't do anything, like we knew this guy was out there. Here's a clip. Go ahead, Rob.
Page 11.
We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing. We can. Not here. Not here, bro. We're watching video right now.
Okay, Rob, can you give us the facts on what happened here? I have some details here. I don't know what page the story's on.
I believe, yeah, it's page 11, Colorado. It starts with Colorado. My apologies.
Let me see.
Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado fire attack suspect plotted for a year, FBI says. This according to the BBC page. I'm sorry, 13.
Yeah, 13, not 11. Yeah. So you see this, and I look at him, I'm like, let me see the story about this guy. Rob, if you can go out there and just Google the following. Can you give me some facts about the terrorist in Colorado? Just go to ChatGPT and type in, can you give me some 10 facts about the terrorist in Colorado? Okay, and look what ChatGPT will give you, just the facts. Background. Mohammed Sabri Solomon, a 45-year Egyptian national who has been residing in Colorado since August. He entered the U.S. on a B1 visa, B2 tourist visa in August of 2022, which expired February of 2023. Although he applied for asylum in September of 2022 and received work authorization in March of 2023, his permit expired March of 2025, rendering his presence in the U.S. unauthorized. Nature of the attack. Solomon attacked participants of a peaceful pro-Israel demonstration called Run for Their Lives at the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder. He used a makeshift flamethrower and Molotov cocktail, shouting phrases like Free Palestine and End Zionists during the assault. Casualties. 13 individuals ages 52 to 88 were injured in the attack, including an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor. One victim remains in critical condition. Solomon himself sustained injuries and was hospitalized. Premeditation. Solomon confessed to planning the attack for over a year, initially intending a mass shooting. He resorted to incendiary devices after being unable to purchase a firearm due to immigration status. He conducted reconnaissance of the area in disguise and researched bomb-making techniques online. Motivation. During the police interviews, he expressed hatred towards Zionists and claimed he wanted to kill all Zionist people. He also indicated a desire to die during the attack, stating he had to do it and would not forgive himself if he did not do it. Legal charges. Solomon faces multiple charges, including 16 counts of attempted first-degree murder, federal hate crime charges, and possession of incendiary devices. He is being held on $10 million cash-only bond. Investigation status. The FBI is treating this incident as a targeted terrorist attack. Community impact. The attack has heightened anxiety within the Jewish community, already shaken by recent targeted attacks, including the fatal shooting of Israeli embassy aides in Washington, D.C. And then last but not least, political repercussions. Trump criticized current immigration policies, attributing the attack on Biden's administration open-door policy. So something like this happens. Vinny, how do you process this when you see something like a tragic event?
Horrible, tragic, and just another result of an illegal person, whatever the hell you want to call him, overstaying his stay during the Biden administration. But what pissed me off the most about this story, Pat, is when it hit, I don't know if you guys were paying attention, how the mainstream leftist media covered it. Okay, the New York Times, Rob, you might be able to, they didn't call him an illegal. They wrote illegally entered the country. They put in quotations because they don't want to say it. Okay, and then Ken Delanian at NBC blamed Elon Musk because the guy made a homemade flamethrower as if he used Elon's. The guy made it himself. And then MSNBC called him a white male. Okay, I don't understand. Every time something like this happens, why are they so afraid to say that an illegal Muslim Egyptian guy, that's the guy? They always want to beat around the bush because it's almost same thing with Keir Starmer in England and all the Pakistani rape gangs, Brandon.
Yep.
They never want to say it. And then the worst one, Jamie Raskin pushed for gun control. Think about it. The guy's throwing Molotov cocktails and a flamethrower at older Jewish ladies because he hates Zionism, because the left pushes this shit really, really hard and brainwashes these people. He's pushing gun control. They're allergic to the truth.
What's this?
Bina? Which one is this, Rob?
This is a video where MSNBC claims that the attacker was a white male.
Oh, yeah. Can you play this?
As far as the investigation itself, we're still trying to verify and confirm some video, but it appears to show a significant portion of the incident as it happened. There's an individual that's taken into custody. He's a white male. Whether or not that's the person
White male.
police ultimately arrested and will ultimately charge in this crime.
White male, and it's just weird.
Yeah,
You can stop it, Rob. It just boggles my mind. Every time this happens, you know what's going on. You know what he's screaming. You know what he's doing. They never want to say, this guy was a Muslim dude yelling and hating Jewish people. And this, I'm telling you, this thing is starting to get out of control because it's happening more and more and more. And Tom Homan came out a couple days ago, Pat, and he was saying, you guys do not have any idea what's coming. This is Thomas Homan. You saw it? Thomas Homan is saying, even if you go try to get all these people, do you know how many of these people? Remember that guy that we talked about that said, soon you're going to know who I am? The guy that was a known terrorist. And this is the clip with him. I don't think America, and by the way, he's not a fear monger. Thomas Homan's not the guy. He's just spitting facts as how it is. You have no idea what's coming down the pipeline. We're getting a taste of what these people are going to do. Adam, you like kind of touched on it. This is it, Rob. Is this the clip?
The one that you sent of
Yes.
Tom Homan?
Is this him?
Yep.
Pat, can we play?
Yeah, of course.
Let's get your first reaction, your first public comments on this issue out in Colorado.
You know, me and you have been talking about this for years, Sean. I mean, I worked for the network just before I came back to the second Trump administration. And I've said over and over again, you know, what scares me about the southern border, the sex trafficking, right? Sky high. The Americans dying from fentanyl. The people, you know, all the drugs coming across, all the sex trafficking, all the smuggling. And I said what concerned me the most
This is it.
was they created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. Not only did 2 million known gotaways, 2 million people cross the border, we don't know who they are, where they came from, we don't know where they are now. On top of that, even through the legal process, the Biden administration were bringing people unvetted, handing out work visas like they're candy, while they sat here and planned something bad. We are going to be dealing with this for the next 10 years.
Probably more.
Because of the chaos they created in 4 years. We're out there kicking butt. We're wrestling.
And then Rob, pause it. I know Brandon wants to say something.
Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so like what the hell is the Patriot Act for? Like we gave up everything and supposedly like they could look at everything that we do and this stuff happens constantly. Like how is it that businesses can serve ads onto our phone? Like if it simply hears us say the name of a product and we get flooded with ads, but you can't find somebody if they start typing in how to make a at-home fire, whatchamacallit, like a flamethrower, or like how do I perform a terrorist attack, or start typing in things that would automatically trigger that. Like how do school shootings happen? How do terrorist attacks happen? Like, and, you know, they always say that we can't say how many attacks the Patriot Act has stopped because that's a matter of national security. But like, was it even like a good trade-off? And, you know, we're like working towards stuff that's more like the Patriot Act, but you know, it's not showing a good return on like what we gave up in return for. We're like, it's supposed to be that we gave up freedom in return for safety, but they're not showing that. Like, so I don't know how the FBI let stuff like this happen. And they gave out government cell phones to these people who came across the border illegally. So how, like, again, how are they not able to track that stuff on their phones?
Well,
So
but Brent,
it's crazy this could happen.
I think sometimes they're using those cell phones to let them know, like, hey, listen, whenever we need you, we're going to hit you up. do what you have to do. That's what they did it to track them, but who knows how many of them that they let in that they're working for them. Like, hey, listen, when everybody's acting too calm and Trump's getting too popular, we're gonna give you a call. Go here and do this.
So that was DHS though. Like this is new DHS. So like you would think that they would like be doing different things with that cell phone data.
Yeah, but I'm saying, well, I mean, who knows what the hell they, you know what I mean? But those people have already been set up, and I'm telling you right now, they're just waiting. Those people are waiting, and this next 3 years is going to be very, very scary and very interesting.
Sometimes there's stories inside the story, and one of the things I looked at, and it's just like, Jamie Raskin, you know, why don't you come on and debate some of these things you're talking about? Because you go on there and you're talking about gun control. He didn't have a gun. He was unable to purchase a gun, which means some gun laws apparently worked that prohibited from getting a gun to commit a mass shooting. And so, Jamie Raskin, you're out there running in the. You should be talking about Molotov cocktail control or you know, basically vodka control. Because my understanding is that this was he was using alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or you know, high proof. Alcohol, like, you know, remember you could get all kinds of that McPunch in college, and it's flammable. And that's what he was using because he was unable to purchase a gun. So point one, if he's unable to purchase a gun, who said, no, you can't buy a gun because your status is a problem? And why didn't at that point somebody come out and talk to him and say, dude, you just tried to buy a gun. You know, both your visas are expired. Yeah. Okay. Give me your hands. Click, click. And, you know, we're going to send you off. I'd like to know, how did those two things happen? One is good, he couldn't buy a gun, but the other was, isn't that a flagging moment where we now come back and say, what are we doing?
Adam.
Well, this is what they've been calling for. They've been calling for globalizing the intifada, the revolution, and it's coming to our shores. This is my biggest concern for America. Forget about the fact that I'm Jewish. Whatever's going on in Israel, they're taking care of what they need to take care of against terrorists. What I'm worried about is New York. What I'm worried about is LA. What I'm worried about is Miami. What I'm worried about is Toronto. What I'm worried about is London, Paris, and cities all across the Western world because they have a very clear agenda. Tear down the West. That's it. So this whole global intifada from the river to the sea, when half the people can't even figure out what river or what sea they're even talking about, when they globalize the intifada, then you have this guy, this Egyptian illegal who shows up in our country and tries to burn down
older Jewish ladies and people that are walking.
So and then he claims, you know, I don't hate Jewish people. I just I don't like Zionism. Tell me what the difference is, buddy. What's the difference? Because Zionism is a very simple definition. And believe me, I've been called a Zio a million times, proudly. All it is the belief that the Jewish people should have a homeland in the land of Israel. By the way, it already happened. It's here. It's done. So the whole concept of like, oh, you're just a Zionist or whatever it is, it's like they just have a homeland. That's like saying, you know, the Vatican should be the home for Catholics.
I saw a clip the other day. It was so funny. Rob, if you can pull this up. You know, the Gays for Gaza, the whole movement that they're protesting for Free Palestine, Free Palestine. Yeah. The Gays for Gaza met their match, a Muslim woman that's really protesting for Palestine. It's like, hey, you're not our type. Get the hell out of here. Watch this. Watch this.
Yep.
She doesn't want him there, huh?
Imagine how weird this is. Like, yeah, come to Gaza and see what we do to you.
Yeah.
With that flag up.
She doesn't want,
yeah, so this transitions into the Pride Month, right? The whole thing about Pride Month, Pride Month. And all these sports teams are posting their Pride Month stuff. And you see the list of teams that didn't. With one of them in the NFL report that came out. Rob, if you can tell me what page that's on. I know we have it somewhere here. I looked at it.
That is in the addendum, and that is page...
Oh, here you go. You got it. So new list exposes 12 NFL teams for refusing to post message supporting Pride Month on social media. Can you imagine? Like, now they're watching to see, they better post it. You better post it, or we're writing an article about you, and we're going to try to humiliate you and making sure everybody knows how you guys don't get in line. And these teams are like, yeah, we don't really give a shit. So June, as LGBTQ Pride Month is celebrated, 12 NFL teams have faced backlash for not posting messages. In stark contrast, when 9 teams stayed silent, the current list includes Jets, Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Colts, Titans, Chiefs, Raiders, Cowboys, Seahawks, Saints. Despite the league's shuffling to acknowledge LGBT pride. Several fans will remind the disengaged, illuminating the broader issue of inclusivity within the NFL players. Saints advocate for allyship and support, emphasizing the need for more welcoming environment. By the numbers, 11 NFL teams did not post anything. Last year was 9. Okay, 9. So it's interesting. It went from 9 to 12. And in the MLB, let me see. So it was an NFL may face increased pressure to improve inclusivity and representation in light of public scrutiny regarding team response to Pride Month. Future campaigns may require teams to engage more actively. Oh, my God. Give me a flipping break. State of play, players like Kalen Saunders are actively promoting inclusivity through initiatives like youth football camps. Culture within the NFL is perceived as predominantly heterosexual, which limits the visibility of LGBTQ community. And in baseball, there's one team in baseball that's like, look, we're not playing. Why are the Texas Rangers the only MLB team without a Pride Night? Okay, this is Minnesota Star Tribune. The Rangers, the only Major League Baseball team without a Pride Night, stated our long-standing commitment remains the same to make everyone feel welcome and included in Rangers baseball in our ballpark at every game, and all we do for both our fans and our employees. In September 2023, they invited LGBTQ groups to a fundraising game, but faced protests from some fans. The team's decision aligns with Texas conservative political climate led by Governor Abbott. Texas politics, dominated by Republicans, saw Governor Abbott laws that Save Women's Sports Act barring transgender college athletes from competing on teams, matching their gender identity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So good for the Rangers, okay, with this story taking place. Tom, your thoughts. You're a sports guy. You follow sports. What are your thoughts about some of these teams taking the positions that they did, and MLB being the one that says, Rangers being the one that says, we're not playing this game?
Well, I looked at the NFL teams on a map, and I thought it was very interesting. And the bravest owners is the Jets, New York, Ravens, Maryland, Baltimore, and the Seahawks in Seattle, Washington.
Yep.
And so I looked at those three, and I said, okay, wow, that takes a lot of guts for those owners in those blue states to say, hey, no Pride Night. Everybody else was in, let's see, 2 in Pennsylvania, where you had Pittsburgh was there, and then you had Ohio, Indiana, everything, in Louisiana, the Saints, Dallas, and everybody else was a blue state. There were 3 blue states where you had brave owners, and everything else, was a red state. And so I think people are also trying to take the quote that the Rangers gave. I thought was a beautiful quote, because they said, we want everybody to come enjoy the game. And you know what? We're not going to do one night for you and one night for you and one night for you, one night for you. And I think it's great that teams recognize veterans. They have recognized Mother's Day. And they have the pink socks, the pink bats. And you've got one team that says, you know what? I'm not buying into the pride thing. We're going to recognize moms. We're going to recognize the military. We're going to do all that. But the rest of it, you want to protest outside. But you know what? This is what I'm doing. That takes a lot of guts, as well as I think the Jets, Ravens, the Seahawks owners took a lot of guts to say, we're not doing that, because all the other NFL teams were in red states where it's pretty easy to say in Dallas, hey, we're not going to support Pride Night. Okay. That's not too difficult. And it's not to smear, people with a different lifestyle. It's just, hey, they're like, this is what we're going to do. Everybody can come enjoy this here, but we're not doing special nights.
Vinny, your thoughts?
Well, the LGBTQ community picked the one word that God warned us about. I want everybody to know that, okay? Pride, okay? That's not a coincidence. Pride is what comes before the fall. And Tom, scripture, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, okay? That's a warning, and we're watching it play out in real time every year. And you guys are going to see this whole month, you're going to see the streets of West Hollywood with literally butt-naked men with children, with parents bringing their children, walking around. It's like modern-day Sodom and Gomorrah. It's ridiculous, because I believe pride should be reserved for things that you earn or achieve or attain on your own, okay? Something that took discipline, something that took character, okay? Not something that you do in a bedroom and then you demand a parade and an entire month of debauchery for, okay? You build something, you serve your freaking country, you keep your word when it costs you. That's pride, okay? But being proud of your sexuality, that's not an achievement. What did you do? Yeah. Like, people are like, I'm proud. It's like, okay, I respect the plight of what gay people have had to go through, okay? I have gay friends. I can only imagine and we've all seen it, from what they've had to go through, from the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and everything, to get to the point where now you're accepting nobody gives a shit if you're gay anymore. And I'm so happy for that. But to do what they're doing and to be like the drag queen story hours in front of the kids and then walking in the streets with your dingling hanging out and kids being there, it's like now they shifted and now it's a whole different ball game. And when it comes to, and I wanted to ask, because the Yankees, and I'm a huge Yankee fan, I see all my freaking friends, I'm a hardcore, Yankees fan. I'm just curious, because the Yankees are doing the pride thing. What would that be going on if George Steinbrenner, hands down one of the best owners, period, history of sports, would he be letting this happen? Mind you, this is the guy, Tom, that fired people, for managers, for losing streaks, for you can't wear a beard, couldn't have a mustache. I'm just curious
You mean he had standards in his workplace? He had standards for performance, and if it didn't work, he just found someone else to do the job? How odd.
Yeah, but so, Tom, I want to ask you, Tom, honest to God, bro, you're a huge baseball fan. You know sports more than anybody I know. Is this happening with Steinbrenner behind the wheel?
No, I don't think it happens with George Steinbrenner behind the wheel, because I think he says, my business is baseball. Anybody wants to come to the ballpark, I'm going to put a winning product on the team, on the field. You can come and see that, and I'm going to take care of you. You will be safe. You will be welcome. That's it. And then he'd be like, I've talked about this too much. I got to get back to worrying about my team. That's what Steinbrenner
So
would
guys
have done.
were tagging me yesterday left and right. Hey, how dare you have this position? I said, I'm an investor in a lot of companies that I'm not a majority owner of. If I'm not majority, I don't control the decision-making process of that company. And then immediately I posted a tweet. Rob, if you can go to the tweet I put up yesterday, and it was direct about what we don't spend enough time talking about. It's all the way at the top. And I said, I don't subscribe to Pride Month. What you choose to do with your personal life sexually isn't my business, nor do I need it advertised constantly. America would be a much better place if we spend more time recognizing fathers and mothers who go above and beyond raising kids. Being a parent is tough. It requires a lot of sacrifice. We need to get back to recognizing true heroes of the world. Strong parents who raise great independent leaders. Strong parents lower crime, lower taxes, lower confusion. Let's get back to celebrating great parents again. It's not a difficult task. A couple guys are like, well, we already have a Father's Day and a Mother's Day. And everybody responded back, yeah, a day. Mm-hmm. You have a Pride Month. And you have a day for fathers and mothers. We did a video a couple of years ago on how many days we dedicate to Pride Month. 145 days a year. But we give one Father's Day, one Mother's Day. It's double dumb, and it's to the point where an incident took place with, if you remember, with, what's it called, with Olympics. The debate, J.K. Rowling, oh my God, how dare you claim that this fighter is a man, and shame on you. You ought to be embarrassed of yourself. And you know what story came out, Rob? Do we have that story here with the boxer or no?
You do. That is on page, let's see.
Watch the story, folks.
That is page 19, Olympic boxer Emain Khalif.
Do you remember this boxer? Emain Khalif, that we were supposed to believe is what? Is a woman. Is a female, right?
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, story comes out, and look what the story says.
Weird.
The story comes out saying that the Olympic boxer, Emain Khalif's leaked lab results offer new evidence about her biological sex. Leaked 2023 test results from Dr. Lalpath Labs in New Delhi, accredited by the American College of Pathologists, revealed that Olympic boxer Emain Khalif, 26, has a male karyotype with XY chromosomes, leading to her expulsion from the 2023 Women's Boxing World Championship in India by the Russian-controlled boxing authority, as reported by 3 Wire Sports. Despite the test results, Paris 2024 Olympic leaders dismissed him as not legitimate, allowing Khalif, who denies being male and insists she was raised a girl, to compete and win gold, though Italy's Angela Carini, after a 46-second bout, feared for her life, and Mexico's Brianda Tamara Cruz recalled feeling unprecedented intensity in their prior fight, stating, I don't think I had ever felt like that in my 13 years as a boxer. So now, Can you, Rob, is there a clip on this thing here or no?
It's just a news article reading what you said.
Can you go to J.K. Rowling's tweet if you don't mind? And I'm going to open it up to you guys. So this is J.K. Rowling, okay? Comes out and says, I never said and never believed Khalif was trans. I knew he was a man.
Sure.
Damn. The gender activist who created a political climate in which sex testing has been as bigoted or as culpable as the IOC for the travesty that ensued, via a highly credible source who saw his test results. J.K. Rowling deserves an apology. Okay, there's another one as well, Rob, if you can go to the other one. Look at this one, what she posted. Some Olympics will forever be defined by photos the organizer would have preferred not to be taken. Mexico City, 1968. Wow. Paris. Look at that. Do you know what that sign is?
XY.
That's right. That's right. So your thoughts on the story?
It's unbelievable. Like, it's believably unbelievable. And mind you, that dude, Emain, was beating the crap out of women. Like, he was beating them. Like, and God knows what's going to happen. But you know what I mean? Like brain damage or whatever. He was whooping their asses. And that to me, that guy, because he's a guy, is a lazy, cheating piece of you-know-what. And it gets me sick that we still, as a society, at the level of the Olympics, they're turning the eye, they're turning the shoulder and saying, let it happen. Pat, it drives me crazy. And it's not just on the world stage. What about California? You guys know who just crushed beat the shit out of a bunch of girls in California? A.B. Hernandez, 16-year-old boy. Okay, let's just stop right there. All this thing about transphobic. We're not transphobic. We're transhausted. We are sick and tired of this shit. I can't believe we're still talking about it. All right, he's a boy. Go play with the boys. You're just lazy.
What's this here?
This is a dude. This is a guy.
Which one's a dude?
The one in the white and green shirt all the way in the back, the very tall individual. And you can actually hear people yelling that during the track meet.
Play it. Play it.
That's not him in the middle. He's on the outside.
Way back.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him go.
That's a dude playing
now
dude.
Now, ready for this? He's
dude.
competing as a girl. He took first place in the high jump, triple jump, and second, because you suck. A girl actually beat his ass.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And the long jump at the California State Championship. And what did the CIF do? They handed out extra medals like it was freaking a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party, okay? Shame on every single parent, because this message has to be said, Pat.
So
every single parent that is there and standing and saying, live your truth and do your thing, girl, you are delusional, okay? You are... What?
Vinny, which one is the dude?
That's the dude in the middle.
The one in the middle with the mustache?
The middle with the weird teeth and the light, light makeup.
Exactly.
And I know we're kind of being funny, but
really.
Shame on those parents clapping and pushing this insanity.
Let me guess. This is most likely in California.
It's 100% California.
Got it.
You don't reward this.
Oh, you got it on the first guess.
Yeah, there it was.
By the way, you know, as you're going through this, and you see why in 2024 they lost as bad as they did, because this is common sense. Sesame Street comes out with this episode. Rob, play it. We'll just react to it, and we'll see what happened to it. Watch this Sesame. This just came out, right?
Yeah.
You tell me, parents, if you're watching this, if this is for kids. Okay, tell me if this is for Go Vinny. You want to say something?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to cut you off. Listen to what he is saying. Listen to the words. I don't know what the hell is on his head, small bananas or whatever. Just listen to the words that he says about what the situation is. Go ahead and play that.
Ellen looked just like Jonathan Van Ness.
Cookie Monster, Cookie. That is Jonathan Van Ness.
Elmo, Cookie, are you ready to see my monster piece?
Monster piece.
Jonathan!
Mama Bear, some
Monster
runway music,
piece.
please.
Oh, yeah.
People and monsters alike, a round of applause for the Not Too Late Show's newest monster, Alan. Ta-da!
Stop it,
He's on a runway with a note. Okay, so listen, here's the truth. This isn't about love. This isn't about respect. This is about grooming freaking kids under the rainbow flag. Plain and simple.
Indoctrination.
That's all it is. And Rob, look at Pat. This is their tweet yesterday. On our street, everybody is welcome. Together, let's build a world where every person and family feels loved and respected for who they are. Happy Pride Month. And they're all shaking hands with different colors to do the thing. Bro, these kids should be learning about counting, about hopscotch and like playing games. teaching this shit to them at this age about sex and all this stuff, and it's 100% wrong. And I hope to God we as a society figure it out sooner or later and stop this freaking nonsense. This Pride Month is complete bullshit. I don't think any of it means anything. It's just a month to just go out and do debauchery shit, take your clothes off and act stupid and try to groom our children. I think it has to stop.
Let me tell you this.
How many girls have to get hurt?
Let me tell you this. Don't move the tweet at all, Rob. Don't move the tweet at all. Vinny, how many likes you think this tweet got? Likes and retweets. Give me likes and retweets. Likes. You know, you do a tweet, you get 500 likes, 1,000 likes. How many likes did this tweet get from Sesame Street? Their account has only 1.8 million followers. How many likes do you think this got?
20,000.
2,000.
2,000. Tom, what do you say?
I'm probably saying higher than that. I'm going to be like 35 to 50.
Adam, where you at?
Very low. Nobody's interested.
What do you say?
500.
You ready? Show it, Rob.
Yeah.
432,000 likes.
Wow.
What?
Exactly.
What is that saying?
64,000 retweets.
Virtue
what
signal.
It's still a problem.
100%, I agree.
It's still
I was
a problem.
way off. I thought
It should
people
be
were
way
It's
off.
still a problem.
It should be like big pharma ads, though. The way that big pharma ads should be illegal. Like it should be illegal to promote and push this stuff and like sort of talk about it in a public promotional way, because it's like got an infectious nature to it. Because you like they're trying to convince people that they're gay. That's why that number's going up.
Well, you know, the truth is too, and this is the fact that I'm sorry, I'll give it right back to you. It's like, and this is a fact, mind you. Me and Adam, we don't have any kids, but the thing is, the gay people can't have kids, so they need your kids. That's how they multiply. They're not having kids of their own. I mean, instead Pete Buttigieg and them where they're freaking, buying, adopting, whatever the hell you want to call it, which God knows what the hell happens there. But this is the plan. And I'm shocked at that number, Pat. I thought it was going to be way lower.
The point is they have so much influence. That's 432,000 people that click like on it. 18,000 comments. So if you want to say it's fake, 18,000 comments, 22.3 million views, 64,000 retweets. Why would 432,000 people like this?
Virtue signaling?
Because people are still out there that are supporting this.
1,000%.
To me, this is criminal. This is not even, a retard finder, whatever that Twitter account is. You see that at the
Sickening.
bottom.
You just
Can you
made
go a
the
little bit
list.
lower to see sickening? You just made the list, effing retards. Having an empty plate says you're going go a little bit lower. That's an ad. This is grooming. This is criminal. This is perversion. Go to grok. Add hot dogs to all the hands. Okay, keep going lower. Okay, and this is what, if this image of Elmo worshiping King Jesus gets more likes than your post, you have to tweet back, Christ is Lord, I don't make the rules. Let's see what it does.
Yeah.
Not as much. Yeah, but there is influence, man. There's a lot of influence with this taking place, but this is absolutely criminal. Adam, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts on this. So, I'm reading this wonderful book right now. It's called This Book is Gay right here. Here's where I'm at with this. I have no problem with gay people. I have no problem with lesbian people. I have no problem if you're confused and you're going kind of both ways. The biggest problem I got is with the T. The T, if you ever see Dave Chappelle's skit, he's like, we're all going down a car trying to take this road trip. You got the L, you got the G, you got the B, and the T is making it a lot longer of a trip for everybody else. Because in my opinion, this thing ended in 2015. Obama, president, the White House was gay, all the colors, the flags. Congratulations, you did it. And then in my opinion, what happened is they said, why are we stopping here? We have the L, we got the G, we got the B. We got to go for the T. So for the last 10 years, we haven't even heard anything about gay stuff. Yeah, go do your stuff. It's been all this trans stuff. So all these government NGOs, all these basically organizations that were pushing and pushing and pushing, follow the money, as I always say, pushing to get gay marriage approved. It happened. What do you think happened to all those organizations? What do you think happened to all those people that were employed? Do you think they just, all right, guys, we did it? They said, let's go for the next one. Let's get the T out there. And that's why for the last 10 years, we've seen so much of this T stuff. I have gay friends. I don't give a crap. But if he's a dude, he likes other dudes. He's not like, well, maybe I'll cut off my dick today. I don't know. I'm not sure. No, he's just gay.
Yeah.
Was it a mistake to legalize gay marriage, though?
That's not my opinion. If they want to legalize gay marriage, it is what it is. Supreme Court did it.
That's what led to
this.
this.
But if you're gay, be gay. You have equal rights. You have civil rights. But why are we all supposed to have a parade because you're a dude that likes other dudes or a chick that likes other chicks? I don't get it. Like it's as absurd to me as throwing us a parade because I'm a guy that likes girls. You think we're gonna get a parade for that? Think I'm gonna get a round of applause because I'm a dude that likes women? It doesn't work that way. So why am I throwing a parade for you as a guy that likes other guys? Go for it. I don't care. It's all good. Why is your entire identity wrapped around your sexual orientation? It makes no sense to me. So a lot of it that I have an issue with is the trans stuff. A lot of boys are girls, girls are boys are playing in women's sports in the Olympics, dudes are knocking out chicks. Yeah, of course, everyone's welcome to live the life you want. Just stop pushing it down all of our throats.
No pun intended.
I went online just to kind of see when Sesame Street started supporting LGBTQ. And it says that the first explicit public support was in 2021, June of 2021. During Pride Month, Sesame Street aired an episode titled Family Day that introduced the show's first openly gay couple, Dave and Frank, along with their daughter, Mia. This marked a significant milestone in the show's history, showcasing a family with two dads as part of the diverse representation of family structure. Again, 2021 was when COVID was crazy. People were doing crazy shit. They joined it, right? Prior to that, Sesame Street has included subtle nods to LGBTQ inclusivity. In 1981, a song called We All Sing with the Same Voice, featuring lyrics like, I've got one daddy, I've got two. This is in 81. Who's president in 81? Is it Carter or is it Reagan? I think it's Reagan. Reagan is already president. 80, 79. Yeah, Reagan. It could be. Yeah, I think you're right. 81. No, 81 is.
Still Carter?
No, it says
give or take.
Yeah, right.
From 1981 to 89, Reagan was in office.
Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
it depends on what month this happened in. The song that they came up with.
Yeah.
And then I asked. I said, tell me
January
about the founders of Sesame Street and what their values and principles were. Primary founder was Joan Gans Cooney. Pretty bad last name in Farsi, but can you do me a favor and find out who this Joan Gans Cooney is? Television producer and visionary who co-founded Children's Television Workshop. I mean, the last name in Farsi makes sense if you only knew what that...
Was it bad?
That's exactly what it means.
It's exactly what it means in Farsi.
Oh, wow.
Cooney means gay.
Oh, my
So
God.
we've known this, Iranians have known this for decades. I mean, it's just they haven't talked about it.
Oh, my God.
So Joan Gans Cooney, creator and driving force behind the educational vision. Lloyd Morissette was a co-founder and psychologist helping secure funding and research. Jim Henson was a creator of Muppets, his character, the Kermit, Big Bird, and Cookie Monster. Joan Gans' religious beliefs was raised a Roman Catholic, but later described herself as a non-practicing culturally Catholic. Her work and public life have focused more on education, media, and social impact. So she made it secular. Sesame Street was intentionally designed to be secular, inclusive, and multicultural. Not surprised. There you go. Is there anything we have here, Rob, about the founder that we can look into on how this... So she married Tim Cooney first, and then she married Peter G. Peterson. Type in who Peter G. Peterson is. Who is this guy? Zoom in a little bit.
Peter Peterson? Okay, buddy.
What did he do? Private equity, Lehman Brothers, United Secretary of Commerce. Something else, go a little bit lower to see political affiliation.
He co-founded Blackstone.
He co-founded Blackstone. David Rockefeller proceeded. Maurice Trends, go a little bit lower. Interesting, these connections.
Wow.
Political party, Republican. He was Chris Krangle. That marriage didn't work out. Can you go back? Go back, Rob. So she was married to him. No, marriage, husbands. Tim Cooney, he died in 18, so they were married. Very interesting. Go a little bit lower, Rob. Can you go a little bit? Early education. Jens moved type of State Department. She was exposed to Father James Keller's Christopher movement, which inspired her to get involved in television media. Cooney later said, Father Keller said that if idealists didn't go to the media, non-idealists would. She returned to Phoenix and despite no experience in journalism, got into it, And in 1956, after many years of depression, Cooney's father committed suicide at his home in Phoenix. That had influence on her while Cooney was working in the U.S. Steel Harbor. Go a little bit lower, Rob. A little bit lower, taking a pay cut. Cooney first boss, Leonard Freeman, 1964. She was 31, married to Timothy Cooney, a staff member of New York Mayor Robert Wagner Jr. They met while she was working on A Chance of the Beginning. Go a little bit lower, Sesame Street, and keep going a little bit lower. Let's see if there's anything tied to her. Later years, yeah, interesting.
Did you know also, Pat, that this isn't a fun fact, but it is a fact. The original voice of Elmo, Kevin Clash, from 1984 to 2012, resigned after 4 men accused him of sexual misconduct, and the claims of some relationships began when they were minors.
Who's this?
The original voice of Elmo, Kevin Clash. He admitted to a relationship with the first accuser, but said it started when he was of age. Sesame Workshop initially supported him, but they cut ties as more lawsuits came. None of them led to criminal charges, but some were dismissed due to expiration of statute of limitations. So it was a black guy named Kevin Clash. He was the voice, and a bunch of guys came forward and accused him allegedly of hooking up when they were minors, and he was.
I don't believe it, Vinny. You're telling me that a grown man who makes his career putting his hand up a puppet's asshole is gonna end up doing weird gay things on the side? No way,
Adam. I hate to.
I'm sorry.
Well, allegedly, that's what was happening, and he was the first voice, and he's gone. And somebody named Ryan Dillon took his.
Next
spot.
thing you're going to tell me that Bert and Ernie weren't just buddies living in the same house.
No, they were gay.
What?
Let's go.
Bert and Ernie? Unbelievable.
Just take me to that song for a second, guys. Let me come back and stay focused here. All right, let's go to the next story. Guys, according to Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, there's video footage of Epstein killing himself.
Where is it?
Rob, if you can play this clip. Is this the one, Rob?
Yes, sir.
This is not the clip of him killing himself.
No.
But this is him telling us that there's a clip of it, and he's going to release it to us. Go forward, Rob.
Those two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't. Right. There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act.
No.
The entire MCC Bay, it was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. Right. There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it.
Okay, so that's him. And then there's a video of Kash Patel as Rob. If you can play that one as well, go for it.
The Epstein thing, you dealt with Maria, you said, as far as you know, he killed himself.
I'm telling you he killed himself.
The other thing on the internet is the Epstein files. What's the answer to that?
The answer to that is the same as everything else. I'm not going to withhold information from the American public ever. But I'm also not going to rush to get it out there in a format in which they can't rely on it. So on the Epstein matter or any other matters, we are diligently working on that. And it takes time to go through years of investigations, years of political maneuvering, and years of cover-up to get the American people what they deserve. And that's what I'm going to give them on everything.
Yeah. Then how could you know that after saying that, then how could you know all the information given to you now that you're the new FBI guy is even valid? They've been touching it and editing it and fixing it, and we have to keep waiting for these videos. Guys, let's just all agree we're never going to find out, okay? You're not going to know shit. You're not going to see any video. Nothing's going to be... The only solace you're going to have in your heart of hearts is that God takes care of anybody that was messing with children. That's it. We're not going to get any justice. These poor kids that were freaking raped and some of them probably murdered and God knows what else, sex slaves and whatever, they're never going to get justice because that's how the system is freaking set up and that's how these disgusting demon pedophiles work, Pat. You're never going to see it, Brendan.
What do you think about this?
Never.
No, they run the world. Unfortunately, it seems like the sad truth is that like pedophiles are the most powerful people in the world somehow. I mean, with the Franklin cover-up, that was the same thing as the Epstein, the same model. That nothing happened with that. It was ran by political elites, allegedly. Then the Finders cult, that was grabbing young kids, and they had underground tunnels and stuff in D.C., allegedly. Nothing happened with that. Same thing, like the intelligence told people to back off both times with Epstein, and intelligence told people to back off. Jim Acosta said that. So for whatever weird reason, I mean, it's like with Kash Patel's talking there, he literally looks like he's doing a skit where he's trying to act like he's like nervous and being evasive. So he looks terrified. Dan Bongino looks like he's in physical pain every time he goes on camera. So feel bad for Dan. He got kind of like swept into this. He didn't want to say no to Trump. I get that. So he's in a tough spot. Cash, yeah, like I think he had no idea what he was in for. But yeah, I mean, it seems like the sad truth is that for some crazy reason, the most powerful people in the world are pedos.
Tom, thoughts?
I just look at two guys I respect. I respect Cash. I respect Dan. And I look at them, and they don't look comfortable. And, you know, it's like, you know, I feel like when we looked at Biden, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. He looks like an older gentleman that is in the throes of dealing with something. And when you look at them, the eyes don't lie. The human intuition doesn't lie. And I look at this, and I'm like, you know, gosh, you guys don't look comfortable. And you've been 3 weeks now, you're trying to sell the story, and you just don't look comfortable. And I'm not picking on the integrity of people that have been on the podcast. We know these guys, but you don't look comfortable. And it makes me very uncomfortable that you don't look comfortable. And I go back to the following. Between the Warren Commission and a couple years later, there's a portion of Kennedy's skull, had a serial number on it, it's gone. There's a portion of Kennedy's brain that is gone. There was other artifacts that were from the Bethesda, from the autopsy, they were gone. And so it's like they cleaned everything up. It is a absolute historic fact that they cleaned things up after the Kennedy assassination. So if there were some people that are on that list that don't want to be that list to be read out loud in front of a camera of the public, then they're in there scrubbing. And I feel like the longer anything goes, Pat, there's opportunities to scrub. And history shows us that criminals in high places are able to get in and scrub. So if there's something there and there's people on that list, and we know there are, the longer this goes, it's just time to scrub. And I'm very uncomfortable looking at two guys that appear very uncomfortable.
I only have one question, and that's how much do you believe Cash Patel and Dan Bongino? Because Dan Bongino and Cash came out and said, I know that you don't want to believe this. I know that there's a lot of people who think otherwise. But I'm telling you, Epstein killed himself. Now, there's a lot of people who are like, all right, case closed, buddy. I guess I'll stop asking questions now, which I totally get. But I said this the last time. These guys had a lot of credibility just a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Everyone was rooting for these guys. Everyone loved these guys. Everyone loved Dan Bongino. Everyone thought Cash Patel was the man. All of a sudden, they're liars. Which one is it?
They're stuck.
Is it?
No, they're stuck. They're not liars.
In your opinion.
They got
in your opinion.
Adam,
there's other weird things around this.
So, but let's separate two things.
Okay.
Is child pedophilia and trafficking children
Horrible.
a problem and disgusting and
Big
horrible
problem.
and needs to be identified and called out and prosecuted to the full extent? 100%, 100%.
Put that to the side.
100%.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, Epstein, it's a separate issue to me.
Okay.
So not always, they need to find the guy. Okay, we get that. But in this situation, don't you think these guys have credibility?
No.
We're either saying that they're liars or not.
No, they're stuck. They're not allowed to say the truth.
There's a difference between lying, Adam,
So
and coming.
you're telling me
They came
that
into
a month ago they had ultimate credibility and now they have none.
I didn't say that. I didn't say no.
Is that what
Hold
you're
on.
saying?
No. I'm not saying
No,
that.
they
I'm
intended to do it a month ago, but now they're not allowed to because there's powerful forces that are stopping them from doing it.
They had exactly that. They made promises.
So you're
Adam.
saying that when anyone gets to Washington, they get corrupted, they get bought, they have to sell out.
No, Adam, not corrupt.
So you're saying that everybody is basically not immune to
corrupted, but what
the
makes
swamp of DC.
Adam, what makes somebody? Adam, here's the thing. They want justice. I've hung out with Dan Bongino. He's a G. We've met Cash Patel. That's not that. They made these promises, and I understand that. But then once you show up to the dance and you see everything, and now you're changing the tune and you can't say it. We're not saying that they're lying. We're just saying, and Brandon made a great point, that the most powerful people in the world, some of them, are not only pedophiles, but the people that control them, that have them on camera doing that demonic shit, have them by the balls, and those people run the show.
Like they would probably they would probably threaten to kill them for exposing this stuff. Like there's the guy who was the CIA director told a senator to back off at one of these situations with the Franklin cover-up. He said there's powerful forces that will kill you if you continue to pursue this. And then just for saying that, for warning that guy winded up dying.
So I'm just
What's
either
your position, Adam? Where
you're
are
a
you
believer
at?
or not. I'm not flip-flopping on Cash and Dan Bongino. I think
Who's
they have
flip-flopping? We're not saying they're lying. We're not saying they're lying, Adam.
You just did.
No, I did not say that they're lying. Rewind the tape. I never said that they were lying. They made promises, but now they've been talked to, Adam, and they can't release it.
Well,
they're being told not to say it.
He said that Epstein
three
killed
times.
himself.
He said they're stuck.
Stuck is not lying.
He said Epstein killed himself. Do you believe Epstein killed himself?
I don't know, Adam. I haven't seen the video because we're never.
Nobody's seen the video, Hoss.
He has. He's seen it 1,000 times. Okay. Adam, they're sitting here. By the way, this is from Pam Bondi's mouth.
Do you think Epstein killed himself? Just answer the question.
I don't know. I don't know, Adam, and that's the problem.
All of a sudden you don't know.
They know. And here's the problem, Adam. There's FBI agents right now from Pam Bondi's mouth watching tens of thousands of hours of Epstein and his boys having sexual underage kids. Okay? Tens of thousands. Where are the arrests? How much research do you need? There's a camera. Oh, there's a guy. That's Fred. Go arrest his ass. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Yeah, and the suicide.
How long is it gonna go?
And the suicide doesn't even matter. Like, who cares? He probably did kill himself, but it doesn't even matter. Like, what matters is that they're letting all those people keep doing what they were doing before. So, like, they don't seem to either be interested in it or they don't seem to be able to pursue it because of whatever threat they're.
Best point you've made all day, Brendan, is that separating the actual issue from the basically the look over here Epstein situation. Killed himself, not killed himself. Was there a guard there? What was going on? Did he have a roommate? To me, that's all just basically a mirage for the bigger problem that's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's an airplane.
What the hell's going on?
Taking off.
It's a plane. That's what happens when you're on an airport. And I love it. It does nothing for me.
It's a big one.
But listen, when you get the job and you get in, when you get a job and you get in, nobody has a clue what happens until you get in. Yep. No one knows. Everybody acts hard until you're on the front lines. What did Mike Tyson say? Everybody acts hard until what?
You get punched in the mouth.
Listen, this is a different game they're in. They're on the inside, and, you know, whether that's going to hurt their credibility when they leave and what's going to happen, all this other stuff, I don't know if that's going to happen. I think Dan seems like a very straight-up guy, but they both have a tough job, and we wish them nothing but the best. We hope they come through with the promises that they made, and if they do, a lot of the people that voted for it want to see that stuff. Let's do one last story and wrap up. Rob, can you pull up the charts that we saw from Mario Naval on tariffs? Check this out, folks. Prices of eggs, tariffs, revenue. You have to see what this chart looks like. Look at the amount of income America's now making with tariffs last couple months. Let me first read it, Rob. Trump's tariff shatter records $22.3 billion in May as revenue doubles. The U.S. tariff record hit a 22.3, following April 16.5. Customs and excise taxes have more than doubled in just 2 months. Year to date, the government has collected $67.2 billion in tariff revenue. Tariffs now represent 4% of the federal revenue, up from just 2%. This is what America First trade policy looked in action. Every billion collected is $1 billion less tax an American have to pay. Look at this. Pull it up, Rob, if you can click on it. This is since what month? Since 2005. Zoom out a little bit more, Rob, if you could. Look at from 2005. Look at the spike in tariff revenue. This is from the Department of U.S. Treasury. Look at that. Wow. Barely anything, and then all of a sudden, boom. We're doing a couple billion a month in tariff revenue. Even prior to him getting in, it was $9 billion. He takes $9 billion to $22 billion. Can you go to the next chart, Rob, on prices of, look at this one here. Egg prices have now declined 62% since President Trump's inauguration. They were $6.55. They're now $2.52 per dozen. Folks, go to the store and buy up a bunch of eggs and hang on to them, right?
Yeah.
Massive win. The media is obviously not going to talk about this, but this is a massive victory for eggs. And I think there was one other chart as well, Rob, before I scream off the top of my lungs to defend this other plane behind us.
He's a Democrat.
He's definitely a Democrat. I'm going to piss these guys off.
They don't want these guys to come out.
So, Rob, do me a favor. Go to that video. Go to the video of CNN with the economy. Play that 2-minute clip. If you can play this clip, Rob, we're going to finish up on this here. Check this out. CNN is hoping, dude, there's no way in the world with all the shit that's going on, there's going to be more positive thing about him. I don't think this is the one, Rob. It's
That's
the other one.
leaders. Yes, this one is.
It's the Enton one. That's the one.
Economy.
Play this clip. Look how they feel about the economy and what the Democrats used to represent in 1989 and where they're no longer at. Watch this.
After all of the waves keep open, after the last few months, the first 5 months of the Donald Trump presidency, right, the first 4 months of the Donald Trump presidency, that you expect that Democrats would have this massive lead on the economy. It ain't so. It ain't so. The party that is closest to your economic views, in November of 2023, it was the Republicans by 11 points. Now it's still within that range, still within that margin of error. plus 8-point advantage for the Republican Party. How is that possible, Democrats? How is that possible after all the recession fears, after the stock market's been doing all of this, after all the tariffs that Americans are against, and Republicans still hold an 8-point lead on the economy? Right. Are you kidding me? If it was just one CNN poll, that would be one thing. But take a look at Reuters Ipsos. What do we see here? Party with a better economic plan. Well, in May of 2024, just before Donald Trump was reelected president, Republicans had a 9-point advantage. Look at where we are now in May of 2025. The advantage actually went up by 3 points. Now Republicans have a 12-point advantage when it comes to the party with a better economic plan. And again, this is after months of supposed economic uncertainty in which the stock market's been going bonkers, in which the tariff wars that Americans are against have been going on. And yet, despite all of that, the Democrats are down by 12 points on the economy. This speaks to Democratic problems on the economy better than basically anything that you could possibly look at. The Republicans still hold an advantage on the all-important key issue of the day, which is the party of the middle class, has been a huge advantage for Democrats. I have polling from NBC going all the way back since 1989, when Democrats had a 23-point advantage. 2016, a 17-point advantage. But by this decade, we already started seeing declines back in 2022, where you saw that Democrats led, but only by 4 points, well within the margin of error. And now in our latest CNN poll among registered voters, which is the party of the middle class, it is tied. This, I think, speaks to Democratic ills more than anything else. They have traditionally been the party of the middle class.
No longer.
No more.
So what
Donald
do you do
Trump
now,
and the Republican Party have taken that mantle away, and now a key advantage for Democrats historically has gone adios amigos, and now there is no party that is the party of the middle class. Republicans have completely closed the gap.
You know what I think he just did? I think secretly he just applied for a job at Fox. I think
he probably did.
Can you imagine? It's like, hey,
well, I love what he's saying, and I'll tell you what, words talk, numbers scream. And listen to what he was saying. He said we a lot, and also he said after all of the recession fears, he used that phrase twice, recession fears. So in other words, the entire mainstream media was saying could be a recession, would cause a calamity, could cause this. And all you know what America said? I think you're wrong. I think this is going well. I like this plan. It may not be going perfect, but I like this plan. And the polling is showing that. After all the economic uncertainty, listen to that. Fear, uncertainty. Those are feeling words. Those are liberal feeling words. Those are not numbers. And was the stock market having trouble? Yes. Have we not got a full deal with China yet? No, we don't. Do we need one? Yes. Do we need to bring the jobs back definitively? Yes, we do. Is there work to do? Yes, there is. But you know what Americans are saying? I trust these guys more than those guys. And I mean those colloquially, and individuals. I trust the GOP more than I trust the Democrats, and it's getting worse. And the more they whine about it, the more they're missing the fact that feeling words don't move people's hearts the way you think they do. They may do it on social issues, but when you're talking about the economy and who do you trust, look at this polling over time. You're losing. And why is trans so big? I'll tell you why. It's the next big feeling issue they needed because they don't have anything else.
It's embarrassing, Tom.
It's like Tombstone. 6 shots. Boy, you're out.
Damn,
Tom.
Tom just dropped that mic right there.
That was like...
Look, Harry
bring
Enton,
us home. We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to show Clem. We're going to wrap up. Go for it.
Harry Enton has basically been working for the RNC discreetly in the Trump administration on CNN.
Give him a raise, that's true.
He went through a lot of stats, basically how don't be fooled by all the tariff and what's going on with the Trump situation. Apparently, people still feel very comfortable with Trump running the economy. But for me, the biggest words talk, numbers scream moment right there, Tom, shout out to you, was that last stat about how which is the party of the middle class. Because the Democratic Party, since I've been alive, since we've all been alive, has been the party of the working class, has been the party of the working people, has been the party of the unions. Now it's tied, which makes me ask the following question. What the hell does the Democratic Party stand for at this point? So they stand for what? Gayness, wokeness, and DEI? Is that what it is? Because it used to have an economic message about the empowering the middle class and then basically ending the sort of like economic uncertainty between the wage gap. But now, so if you look at these numbers here, 1989, that's a tail end of Ronald Reagan, couldn't have been higher as far as the disparity between the middle class, Republican and the Democrats. And then 2016, Obama, the bookends, they're still the party of the middle class. Trump, by the time that he leaves office, a billionaire, has basically convinced the rest of America, no, the Republicans are the party. A billionaire did that. So he's the McDonald's billionaire. Now it's basically tied. I don't have no clue what the Democratic Party stands for at this point, other than booing Trump.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, sorry, God.
Go for it.
No, I'm not. I'm far from ready to throw a parade just yet. I think he's doing some deeply concerning.
Which kind of parade, Brandon?
Parade for the Republicans, not the weird kind. Yeah. But yeah, no. So I mean, I think Trump's doing some deeply disturbing, concerning things when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the middle class. I think the deficit's the biggest problem for the middle class, and that's why life is unaffordable for most people, and we're heading in that same direction still. And he's probably unwittingly signing us up for a severe technocratic control state. I don't know if it's by his design or not, but yes, I'm happy overall with what he's doing compared to what the alternative was, but I'm still super concerned about some stuff that he's working us into right now.
There's a couple stories we didn't get into. Maybe we will next week or the following week, Palantir being one of them. But we are at the end of it, folks. Couple things. For some of you that are family folks, and you're running a business, and you have a career, and sometimes you're like, dude, I don't know how to do it with the kids, with the family right now. We were just in Italy last week with 4 kids traveling, insane craziness business, back to back to back while cooking kids. There was so many different things going on. Sometimes you're like, I don't have a clue how to do it. We're doing a webinar. I want you to watch this video and put this in your calendar. Nearly 20,000 people have registered for this webinar. Rob, play this clip. If you're a family man or family woman, get yourself, your spouse on this webinar. Go ahead, Rob.
You know what's scary for some people is they want to be a killer in business. They want to do a great job as an executive, as a CEO, entrepreneur, business owner, but they don't want to kill their marriage. So how do you balance that out? You want to go make all the money, travel, win for your family, but you want to stay married. You want to have a good relation with your kids. You want your kids to still want to see. How do you do this? There's 4 things, by the way. You ready? Write these down. Number 1, you're allowing your family and friends make you feel guilty for your vision, which is going to create resentment towards them. You don't want that. Number 2 is you lack clarity on the vision. You don't really know what you're doing it for. So work-life balance is a question that comes up for people that are not clear of what they want to do. They haven't had the conversation with their family. Number 3 is the concept of being intentional with the time you're spending with your family. And number 4 is maybe you're just looking for an excuse to not work that hard because your family's not bothering you. You're just looking for it. This concept of work-life balance comes up every single day with people who ask me this question. On June 11th, I'm hosting a free webinar for 1 hour to talk about work-life balance with the people that don't have the answer to the questions there, just like I didn't have it at that time. I'm married now with 4 kids, running all these businesses. Some days you feel like you don't know what the hell you're doing. All I'm gonna do is share with you mistakes I've made and things that are working for me. So if it's important to you, get registered, tell your wife, your husband, get everybody on together to listen up. We're gonna go through it for 1 hour again on June 11th. Register because it's limited seating on this webinar.
June 11th, folks. June 11th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to vtwebinar.com. Go to vtwebinar.com and register. Vinny, last shout out.
Last shout out. I'm pretty sure you guys all remember. I know the people at home remember DJ Daniels. You know that little kid that Trump praised at the State of the Union. Remember when he was standing, everybody was clapping, but the Democrats were sitting. They couldn't clap for him. Well, he just found out that his father reported that he has 3 more tumors. So I just want to give DJ a huge shout out and ask everybody at home to pray for him, for not just for healing, but for strength. And Rob, could you play this video of him?
You got cancer. Don't give up on life. All you got to do is pray, believe in God, and just keep that negative energy out of your mind.
And that kid is such a freaking awesome kid.
Good for you,
So God
buddy.
bless him. If everybody could just shoot him some prayers. I mean, talk about pride, and that kid is freaking. There should be a month for this freaking kid, and Democrats came and stand up and clap for him. So God bless him, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out for people to pray for him.
Respect. Yeah. God bless, gang. We will do another podcast tomorrow. I believe tomorrow we're gonna have Stephen A on, and then we'll be back again Thursday. Home team. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.